themselves today before the start of this tournament. Germany, there's such a rivalry, such history between France and Germany at club level, at international level, going back also to the 2016 Euros, of course, that semi-final in Marseille where we were both there. I think Chappers and Chris Waddle could not even go on the pitch because he would have been mugged by all the fans who were so happy that he was there. But yeah, it was so I think maybe Germany just because of the rivalry that is bigger than the one with Portugal. But despite everybody saying that this is France tournaments to lose and we're so favourite and we're so good and we're so strong, which is probably true, I think the players have tried to stay confident but not overconfident, not too confident, not too arrogant, because they know that there's going to be a lot of very strong teams on the way, starting obviously with tonight and this group.
And yet, Raf, when you were on our preview show, I mean, Julien there mentions the threat of Germany, and yet when you were on the preview show, your demeanour made Chris Sutton appear like Mr. Motivator with his positivity. So you were quite downbeat, shall we say? Well, I can't hear Raf.
So downbeat that he's not there.
No. Even more downbeat tonight that he just doesn't want to talk to us. But he wasn't he, Chris? I mean, he was very down on Germany. Sort of described the last 3 years of them, that they've wasted those 3 years and have now come back to some of the players they were with right at the start.
Yes, absolutely. I was surprised. I mean, look, Raf knows Germany inside out. I was surprised just how negative he was about them, just because, when you look at some of the players at their disposal, they have massive strength in depth and they have players who can hurt any team. Now, they've gone through a really difficult period, but you look at their squad and I still think they're one of the strongest squads in the tournament and still very, very capable of winning it. It wouldn't be a great surprise to me, but Raf, for whatever reason, is quite negative about them.
well, Raf is back and can speak for himself now, hopefully.
I was so negative I didn't even want to come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm in the stadium, I feel slightly more positive.
Good.
I mean, it is true that Germany have gone into this pre-tournament phase, if you will, on such a low note that they could only almost pick up a bit of momentum, a bit of positive momentum in the training ground. And it is true that the players have all come out and said how they feel they've come together as a team, how the energy has been good, how it's very different to 2018. So at least as far as sort of team spirit and coherence off the pitch is concerned, I think they tried very hard to create that bit of connection that certainly has been missing for the last 3 years. Whether that's all enough, a week before the tournament, a couple of days before the tournament, to really get going, to build a sense of rhythm, to build a sense of positive momentum, I'm not 100% sure. I'd be much more positive if we'd go into this tournament on the back of a very established starting 11, a team that's played together this way, has had decent results throughout the last few years. But we've had anything but. We've had very different teams, very different formations, very indifferent results. And all you've got is this belief that Germany, as they often do, will somehow on the day come together. But that's all we're clinging to really at the moment.
And where are we at with team spirit with the French, Julien?
I knew you were going to ask this question.
Well, come on,
I mean, we've got Chris with us. Chris wouldn't. I mean, this was nothing. One, it was a week ago, and two, Giroud said, "Hey, I make good runs. The ball doesn't come." Mbappe felt that he was talking about himself, which he was, to be fair. And Mbappe just said, listen, why don't you say this to me directly instead of going through the media to say, I don't know why Giroud did that. I think they've cleared the air by now. Certainly from what I get from inside the camp right now, this is completely forgotten. Giroud will be on the bench tonight. He might not even come on. He might have a very small role to play in this whole tournament anyway. If the front three stay healthy and perform well, there's no reason why Benzema, Griezmann and Mbappe will not start every game and pretty much play the whole 90 minutes anyway. So I don't think this will have an impact on the game tonight, certainly, but even the rest of the competition, because it's been dealt with by Deschamps, by the players themselves and other leaders in that dressing room. I just think he made that pre-tournament, so at least we had something to say, because otherwise it was really boring. Yeah, you're very good, thank you. Everybody's saying we're going to win, which you all try to jinx us, and let's hope that you will all fail. But at least that gives a bit of like, oh yeah, something to talk about.
Chris?
Yeah, look, I mean, it wouldn't be the French without a good old feisty argument before a tournament, would it? Getting stuck into each other. But I just look at the French squad, and I mean, is there a weakness in the squad? I don't think so. They are the most rounded squad. They have players who can score goals, create opportunities. You look at the midfield. Kante, who's had an unbelievable season. Defensively, they're strong. If the French turn up, everybody else is in trouble. But maybe arguing between themselves, it may work in other countries' favour. I don't know, but if they turn up and perform to their capability, then they're going to win it.
There is an element of sympathy for Giroud here, Julien, in that he was responding to a question. I mean, it wasn't with the questioner inferring, I think, that why hadn't he done this or that, and
he didn't have to say it though, Mark, did he?
Well. Yeah, but his point was, well, I made the runs. So he's what do you want him to say, Chris?
I did everything right. He didn't need to get involved in that, did he? Really?
I thought he was responding to a question, Jules.
No, he was. The question was, until the 2 goals he scored against Bulgaria a week ago Tuesday, we asked him, you were quite quiet after coming on for Benzema, who had a slight injury early on after 37 minutes, and he went, if I was quiet, it's because I made some good runs, but then the ball never came. Which, again, I agree with Chris. I agree with both of you. There was no need for him to say that. He could have just said, well, I had no chances, and that's fine. At least you don't target anyone with your criticism. If you just say, well, I can't score if I don't have chances, but it's not aimed at anyone. From the moment he said, I made good runs, but then the ball never came, and he was playing up front with Kylian Mbappe next to him in a 4-4-2, then you knew exactly who he was targeting, and that's when the problem started, really. But so I agree with Chris in the sense that I'm not sure it was really necessary for him to say it that way. And I agree with you, Chappers, in the sense that...
You can't agree with both of us.
Well, in a way I do, because why not? If he clearly felt after the game, despite the 2 goals, he felt, you know what, things could get better here if we were maybe playing a bit more together, kind of thing.
Who does all that sort of stuff? I'm all right, I'm making the right runs. He didn't.
No, you're right. But you know the thing, Chris, is that, and just to prolong Mark's question, is that Giroud was. He didn't score in the World Cup, but he played a big role in the role, what he had to do for that team. Okay, he didn't score a single goal, but still. And now Karim Benzema has come back like the Messiah. It's clearly, this is like the world has stopped. Karim Benzema is there. And when you know the previews between them two, the Formula 1 and the go-kart and all of that, although again, that they've talked about that is sorted, and Giroud was not really offended. But suddenly Giroud has come, not even starting, not even sure to come on, and he's very close to beating the records of goals scored for the national team that Thierry Henry still holds. He's really close, far closer than Kylian Mbappe or even Antoine Griezmann or Karim Benzema. And yet, all people have been talking about is that incredible front three, the chemistry between Mbappe and Benzema, the bromance between Mbappe and Benzema and Griezmann and this and that front three, and how are they going to play, and the fluidity between their movement, and they complement each other so well that Giroud has been completely left apart. And maybe that sentence was in a sense, hey, don't forget about me. I can also play a role here.
I know how he feels.
Tom, just very quickly, given the strength of this Portuguese squad, does that now change the dynamic of Ronaldo within it, or is it still all centred around him?
No, I think it does change it because, even there's been some suggestions among fans and even some of the media that Portugal tend to play better without Ronaldo. And, that would just be hearsay if you said that any time, really, over the last 15 years. But, when you've got players like Bernardo Silva, Diogo Jota, Bruno Fernandes, they're all starting in the game in a few minutes. And then you've got Andre Silva on the bench, and you've got Joao Felix also. That's so much talent, so much top talent at top clubs. And not just, Portugal have always had good players at, foreign clubs, but they've got some of the best players now in the biggest clubs, and not just bit part players. You're talking about players who really are key players. I mean, Bruno Fernandes has just been the best player, hasn't he, in Manchester United, possibly in England for the last year and a half or so. And so, there is a feeling now that these players will take on more responsibility on their own rather than look into Ronaldo, and he won't be so much at the centrepiece. But the coach, as for the coach, Fernando Santos, he says and he insists that Ronaldo will be starting every single game, and he'll be playing every single minute unless he's injured. So, I don't think there's any change there. I just think there will be a change in the way the Portuguese players play. They won't be quite so centred. Things won't be quite so focused all around him.
OK, Tom, thank you very much. Tom Cundert, football journalist and creator of Portugal. Raf and Jules are staying with us. Portugal against Hungary gets underway at 5. France, Germany at 8. Both games here on 5 Live. Highlights on BBC television later this evening. Let's go to Royal Ascot. Day 1, big race of the opening day is the St James's Palace Stakes. John Hunt.
And they're just on their way towards halfway here, Mark, in front of 12,000 spectators on a glorious afternoon. And the rank outsider Ontario has a clear lead here. We don't expect him to stay put, with Namus in second place, but 6 lengths away. The Guineas winner from Newmarket, Poetic Flare, is in third place, looks in a great position to strike. The unbeaten Mostadaf is in behind him. Battleground turns for home as well, with Lucky Vega now under pressure. There's a horse called Wembley in this race, would you believe, in the shadows of Wembley Stadium, just in the distance. He's trying to make ground in behind them, but now all change. Poetic Flares very quickly moving to the frontier and tries to take Namuz in behind them. Weakening just a little bit is Mostadaf, and Poetic Flares quick and nicely here to draw clear from the back end of the field. Maximal and Lucky Vega both staying on with Battleground, but this is what you want to see. The Guineas winner coming out and showing that that was no fluke, and Poetic Flare for Ireland, for Jim Bolger and Kevin Manning, is deeply impressive. Poetic Flare has won by 4 lengths and has beaten Lucky Vega and Battleground, who finished well behind him at Newmarket as well. So that Guineas form really looking very strong, but that was so taking. We come to Royal Ascot to see the very best take on the very best, and that was an absolutely emphatic display by Poetic Flare, the 7-2 favourite, and he's crossed the line 4 lengths clear to win the St James's Palace Stakes. And Mark, just to update you on what's happened earlier this afternoon, the magnificent sprinter Batash was beaten in his defence of the King's Stand Stakes. He finished 4th behind Oxted, who provided young jockey Kieran Fallon, son of the great Kieran Fallon, with his first ever Royal Ascot winner. Berkshire Shadow won the Coventry Stakes for champion jockey Oisin Murphy and trainer Andrew Balding. And needless to say, Frankie Dettori's been on the mark as well today. He won the Queen Anne Stakes, the opening race with Palace Pier. And Mark, Frankie's a great showman, and he took the opportunity, knowing that the Euros are on at the moment, and fresh from Italy's success, of course, on Friday night. He was asked to compare Palace Pier to a human, and he said, well, if he was a footballer in the Euros at the moment, he would be your first pick to take a penalty and would certainly put it in the back of the net. So Dettori in fine form at Royal Ascot today.
Thank you very much, John. So John Hunt at Ascot, Russell Fuller is at Queen's, where Andy Murray is in action.
And he started very well in his first singles match on the ATP Tour since the beginning of March. He's up against Benoit Paire, the world number 46, and he has the break. He leads by 4 games to 2 first set, breaking to love with a running forehand down the line winner. So his movement so far has looked good. Not a bad draw, this, because Paire has pedigree on grass, but he's not enjoying 2021. He's not enjoying bubble life. He's won 2 of 17 matches, described Tour as sad, boring and ridiculous, and suggested he's been trying to lose deliberately in the first round to try and escape the bubble.
Thank you very much, Russell. Let's talk a little bit more about France-Germany, which is an 8 o'clock kick-off with Rafa Honigstein, Julien Laurent and Chris Sutton. How did Germany approach tonight, Raf?
It's a really good question. I hope that Joachim Löw knows the answer. We're still trying to figure out what the setup is, if you will. I mean, the formation, I think, by now is pretty settled. It will be a 3-4-3, but whether that's going to be defensive with 5 men effectively defending or more of attacking setup, we're yet to see. I think there is real concern that Germany might be exposed for pace because we have 3 centre-backs who are reasonably fast, but not quite in the Kylian Mbappe bracket. And in front of them, you have 2 players who are not natural holding position players, holding defensive midfielders in Toni Kroos and Ilkay Gündoğan. So there is a bit of weakness, if you will, at the heart of this Germany team, which is why Löw has decided to go for numbers, if you will. And at times there will be, I think, 5 players defending and making sure there won't be much space for France. So my hunch is it will be quite cagey to begin with.
Is Goretzka not fit?
Goretzka is fit to be in the squad, but unfortunately not fit to start.
You are worried about that midfield, aren't you, Raf? I mean, you've said it a few times, and and how Joachim Löw is going to use Joshua Kimmich is a huge debate.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I mean, do you gain more by putting Kimmich on the right, where he doesn't really have any good options, more than you lose by not having him in the middle? Because he is the most natural of defensive midfielders that we have. He's more box-to-box, really, but he can play the role really well, as we've seen for Bayern and Germany in recent months and years. But Löw feels that he doesn't have anyone nearly as good on the right, which is why he will play on the right, unless there's a very big last-minute surprise in the lineup. And that means, as we said, Kroos and Gundogan lining up together. Now, I think that is fine if you have a lot of the ball. Both are very comfortable, both love to have the ball. Their passing range is superb, but you don't want them chasing people. You don't want them running after people, and you don't want them facing the wrong way towards their own goal. I think then Germany will be in huge trouble. And the omen is not good, because the last time midfield without Kimmich lined up, and indeed it was Toni Kroos and Ilkay Gundogan together, Spain beat us 6-0. So there is a reason why I'm slightly less than euphoric at this point.
How would you? I mean, Julien, you and Raf have had arguments all season between about Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern in particular, which you could just sort of roll over into France and Germany now, couldn't you? And as there are still similarities.
Yeah, I think so, and certainly, as we mentioned at the start of the show, the history and the rivalry between the two countries, whether that's club level or international level, is quite fascinating, really, when you think about it, going back into the 70s and that European Cup final between Saint-Etienne and Bayern Munich at Hampden Park, and the famous square post. We still believe in France, had the post being round like they are today, maybe Saint-Etienne would not have lost that final. And then to the PSG Bayern final, as you said, in Lisbon.
Posts.
Yeah, because Dominique Battenay hit the crossbar, and because the posts were square, the ball bounced straight back towards the towards the pitch. Whereas had it been round, maybe he would have hit the underneath and then gone in. People in Saint-Etienne, you know what? They bought the post to be in the museum because they still believe that those square posts cost them a European Cup. We can't write history, can we? Or rewrite history. But certainly that rivalry has been big, and maybe this for many years. And remember the 82 and 86 World Cup where Germany beat France each time.
Did at international level? Did it start? I mean, 82 was the first tournament I remember. I mean, that semi-final is an iconic game of football for so many reasons. Not all of them the right ones, obviously. Is that where at international level it started?
Yes, you're right. That's where it started, and that 82 Sevilla semi-final, for even me who was only 1 year old, I can remember almost if I had watched it and if I'd been there, because that's all people talk about when you talk about Germany and German football. And for many years, that 82 semi-final especially, but then even the one in 86 at the World Cup in Mexico, and then further down the line, further down the years, it was always Germany winning anyway. It was the boogie team. They had something on us, like that kind of spell. They were always more clinical, always more efficient. Really, we hated playing against them. And then slowly in the last few years, it feels like that has changed a little bit. They might win tonight, of course, but certainly that Euro 2016 semi-final was a big shift, I think, in the momentum between the two countries as well. One going up and one going a bit more down. And certainly since then, I think there've been more positivity towards the French. We haven't lost in Germany for 5 games now in a row. I think it's 3 wins and two draws away in Germany. So, you know, it feels like it's changed a little bit compared to before when they were really the buggy team, and then we could not beat them.
Is this German squad, I suppose, finally, and I know there are young players in it, Raf, but is there a feeling within Germany that partly, you know, you've seen a lot of young French players play in Germany. We've talked in the past about young English players going over to Germany. Is where the German side is at an international level partly as a result of what the clubs are doing at youth level?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Germany have been producing good players, and those players make their start in the Bundesliga. And you saw what kind of different Germany we suddenly had in 2010, when we had exactly 10 years of that youth development, when Mesut Özil would have been 10 years old when it started. Age 20, he was suddenly one of the stars of the World Cup in 2010. and we copied the French system to a large extent, or we're certainly inspired by them. What they still, though, I think have in their favour is the sheer numbers of players that they produce. It is no coincidence that Bayern go and buy a Coman in France, buy a Benjamin Pavard in France, buy a Tolisso in France, because they still feel that France produces more players, and perhaps at the very top when it comes to those special players, the creative players, also that they have slightly something different that not too many German players have. So yes, France have been rivals, inspirations, all things mixed into the same thing. And I guess we're even now, because we won 2014 after knocking them out. They won 2016 after knocking us out. Well, no, they didn't win 2016. They should have won 2016, but they knocked us out and go on to win the World Cup 2 years later. Let's see what happens in this third one.
Raf, Jules, thank you very much. Are you going back through all the chances you had, Chris, to find out if the posts were a different shape, how many more goals you may have got?
Oh, it's a good shout, actually.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
I'm always here for you. You think that I'm not, but I'm always here for you.
No, would have been up to 50 maybe career goals.
Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis, your commentary team for Portugal. Yeah, as I say, always here. Portugal against Hungary at 5 o'clock. We'll continue our build-up after a roundup of the day's news with Tony Livesey.
Cheers, chappers. Yes, keep that comfort break relatively brief. I'll keep you for 10 minutes and then we're back with the sport. 4:33 yesterday. It was England's turn to find out the fate of the nation as far as COVID restrictions were concerned. Today, in Scotland, the easing of restrictions there, we're told it's likely to be moved back by 3 weeks. Rules were due to be relaxed to level 0 across the country on the 28th of June. Nicola Sturgeon, though, has told Parliament there that an extension of current restrictions is likely because of an increase in cases driven by the Delta variant, exactly what we heard in England yesterday. Of course, that variant first found in India.
I will confirm our decision to Parliament next week following that review. However, given the current situation and the need to get more people fully vaccinated before we ease up further, it is reasonable, I think, to indicate now that it is unlikely that any part of the country will move down a level from the 28th of June.
Well, she also told MSPs that ramping up vaccination efforts will be the key to ensuring that rules can be relaxed in the coming weeks.
From next week, health boards will start to routinely reschedule second doses to bring them into the 8-week cycle rather than the 12-week cycle. Getting vaccinated is in our own best interest. It makes it less likely that we'll become seriously ill from COVID, but it also helps us protect each other. So when it is your turn, please get the Jags.
Well, Dr. Eleanor Gaunt is a virologist at Edinburgh University's Roslin Institute. Hello, Eleanor. Welcome to the programme.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So, very similar message broadly to what we heard yesterday from Boris Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scotland is on a similar trajectory to the rest of the UK right now in terms of the number of cases. We're a little bit further behind, but we are seeing that exponential increase in the number of cases right now. So this seems like the correct message that the First Minister is sending out.
One thing she did say, again, the message was broadly similar. The vaccines are weakening the link between cases and hospitalisations and deaths. Again, what we heard yesterday. But then she said, I'm not going to give you a firm date. I'm not going to give false guarantees. I suppose cynics on one side might say she's playing a little bit of politics there because Boris Johnson was adamant that July 19th would be Terminus Day, as he called it. Where do you stand on that? Is that logic not to give a firm date, do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, 3 weeks ago, Boris Johnson was telling us that he saw absolutely no reason for the 21st of June not to go ahead, whereas the First Minister was not giving those kind of indications. And, it's turned out to be the case that because of this Delta variant emergence, that we are not in a position to be lifting restrictions right now. So I suppose the opposite to that is that the mathematical modelling coming from SAGE right now is indicating that whether we delay lifting for 4 weeks or for 9 weeks, the outcome is the same. So it may as well only be 4 weeks, but it's difficult to say right now the impact of vaccination if there's delays and those kind of things.
Yeah. Eleanor, just pulling on your experience and just to end, actually, all this has come about because of the Delta variant. One would imagine, certainly, I look at the figures for the UK, nearly 80% of adults have had a first dose and 58% have had a second if it wasn't for the Delta variant. we'd pretty much be home free at the moment, and everyone will be imagining what happens next. Is it possible to even predict for a moment where this virus might go, or is it safe to assume that this Delta variant might be the worst we face?
I would say it's impossible to say right now. There's going to be the emergence of new variants, but whether they pose a significant threat to public health in the way that the Delta variant has is completely unpredictable.
Right. OK. All right. Well, look, thanks for your time, Eleanor. Eleanor Gaunt there, virologist at Edinburgh University. So that announcement for Scotland comes as more areas of England get extra coronavirus support to help suppress the spread of that variant. This will include surge testing in places such as Birmingham, Blackpool, Warrington, the Liverpool City region and Cheshire are all included. That's, again, after Boris Johnson confirmed this 4-week stay to announcing that the end of all restrictions yesterday. Jim Reeds, our health reporter, joins us now. Jim, it has become a race now. I mean, that is finite, isn't it? There is a 4-week period now for the vaccination programme to ramp up.
That's right, and that's exactly what they're trying to do by extending effectively this area of the northwest of England, which is already under this increasingly tough guidance and has these extra kind of support measures put in. They're trying to extend that now to other areas. So you've seen the whole metropolitan area of Liverpool, Blackpool included as well, parts of Cheshire. Also outside of the northwest, you've got Birmingham added today as well. And part of that is to try to get as many vaccines, as you say, into arms in the next 4 weeks, because they think that's the best way to try to drive down infection rates of this so-called Delta variant.
I read today, Jim, that one bit of positivity, because as well as Bolton, Blackburn and Darwin was one of the biggest hotspots. And I read that they believe that cases there may have peaked.
That's right, and that's why they're using, I think, what's happened in the northwest of England as a model to extend to other areas. So, 2-3 weeks ago, Tony, we were talking about Bolton in particular having a problem. They've done a really strong job there at driving down infections in that area, and we didn't get to a stage where the local hospital in Bolton Royal, was in any danger of being overwhelmed, hospital cases coming down. Then we saw Blackburn, as you say, took the top spot's not the right way to describe it really, but the highest rate of infection in the country took over. Now that looks like, as you say, cases there have started to plateau and they look like they're coming down. And the hope is by using similar tactics in these other regions, so that's increased testing, increased vaccination, going door to door, using the army to knock on doors and get people tested. They hope by doing this they can drive down rising cases in other areas. And
just to end, Jim, we're told all adults in England will be offered or able to book a jab by the end of this week. This 4-week period now, do the government or the NHS have in mind a particular target for first and second dose limits or not? Is it just as many as we can and we'll see where we are in 4 weeks?
Well, there's two separate questions. There's the first dose and the second dose strategy here is slightly different. And to be honest, the vaccination data we've just had coming out this afternoon isn't particularly strong. Yesterday we did 370,000 new doses across the UK, so it hasn't been overall really that high over the last couple of days. What they're trying to do is to kind of push first doses into that younger age group by opening it up by the end of the week. And in some areas you've already seen, like I was looking today at areas around Reading in Berkshire, they're already opening up first doses. This morning there were queues at 7 a.m. this morning at some clinics just focused on that younger age group. And at the same time, in that slightly older age group, people in their 40s and 50s, they're really encouraging people to get this second dose, because it's that second dose which all the data is showing can really stop infections of the Delta variant and, importantly, stop people going into hospital.
Jim, thank you. That's our health reporter, Jim Reed there, just to give you the latest English coronavirus figures that have emerged. The number of cases today, 7,673. That compares a week ago to 6,048. And a week ago, there were 13 deaths recorded. Today, that figure is 10. Those are the latest coronavirus figures. Away from the pandemic, to date, it has been the subject of 5 police inquiries, an inquest, and numerous documentaries and podcasts, one of which inspired part of the plot of the latest series of Line of Duty. But 34 years on, the death of Daniel Morgan remains Britain's most investigated, unsolved murder.
The 9 o'clock news from the BBC.
The body of 37-year-old Daniel Morgan was found in Sydenham in southeast London. He was found in the pub car park.
Well, more than 3 decades on, there's still been no conviction for Daniel Morgan's murder. Today, after 8 years, an independent review led by Baroness O'Lone has concluded that there were serious failings from the first day of the Metropolitan Police's investigation. Failings which the review says amounted to institutional corruption.
We believe that concealing or denying failings for the sake of an organisation's public image is dishonesty on the part of the organisation for reputational benefit. This constitutes a form of institutional corruption.
Well, the damning report says the Metropolitan Police repeatedly failed to take a fresh, thorough and critical look at past failings. The Home Secretary, Priti Patel, gave her response in the Commons.
The report itself is deeply alarming and finds examples of corrupt behaviour. Corrupt behaviour were not limited to the first investigation, that the Metropolitan Police made a litany of mistakes, and that this irreparably damaged the chances of successful prosecution of Daniel Morgan's murder.
And for its part, the Met Police has said that it accepts that corruption was a major factor in the failure of the investigation in 1987, and it's apologised to Daniel Morgan's family. It said it will respond in more detail later. Here's our correspondent, Sansha Berg.
One of the most significant things is the way that the panel chose to define institutional corruption. They didn't just look at institutional corruption as a question of who is taking money and making corrupt actions as a result of that, but they said if you see this kind of behaviour and you choose not to confront it, then that too is corrupt. So that's how they have determined that the Met is guilty of institutional corruption, because so many failures over so many years in the Daniel Morgan case, and so many people not really wanting to look too closely at them. And the family have given their initial response just this afternoon. They've said that they welcome the panel report. They said the panel had shown courage that others had lacked, that they'd revealed a culture of cover-up and corruption, and it set out a kind of challenge to the current leaders of the Met about what they were going to do about it.
That report from the BBC's Sansha Berg. Right, that is it. It's 4:44. Probably the shortest drive on record. Barely a drive. More like we've just got the key in the ignition, I think, and I'm out of here. I shall...
Is that your day done?
That's it, yeah. I've come all the way in from Burnley for that.
Counts as a show, doesn't it?
It does. I've notched another award winner there, chappers, under the belt.
We will go to Budapest shortly ahead of our first Euro 2020 commentary of the day. Hungary against Portugal. We have France, Germany at 8 o'clock tonight. But first, let's go back to Queen's. Russell Fuller.
Looking good for Andy Murray as he plays his first singles match since the beginning of March on the ATP Tour. He's won the first set against Benoit Paire by 6-3, breaking in the fourth game, and he is now serving at 30-all after Paire has held serve in the opening game of the second set. Good opponent this for Murray, because Benoit Paire looks distinctly disinterested.
Hungary, one of the hosts then for Euro 2020. John Bennett is in Budapest. I would imagine the atmosphere in the city's been quite something today, hasn't it?
It's been fantastic for a few days, to be honest, Mark. Incredible atmosphere today. A few hours ago, a massive group of fans met in the city centre, a place called Hero Square, and they all walked as one to the stadium. A huge noise as they went into the stadium. I'm just outside now the Ferenc Puskás Arena, and you can feel the noise, you can feel the atmosphere. Remember, it's the only stadium at Euro 2020, certainly in the group stage, that will be full. And it's a really difficult group, isn't it, for Hungary? They know they're the underdogs. They know there's very little chance of them getting out of this group. But they just feel, speaking to the fans, speaking to a couple of ex-players over the last few days, they just feel that maybe the fans could make a difference. That the problem is Portugal. They were talking yesterday, particularly Cristiano Ronaldo, saying it's a perfect scenario for him to have a full stadium. So he can't wait either. I think both sets of players are going to thrive off this atmosphere.
Although the other problem for Hungary is that they have lost their talisman going into this. They have lost their superstar, haven't they?
That's right, Dominik Szoboszlai, who will be a star of the future, RB Leipzig player. He is out, and that's their creativity gone. And again, talking to the experts here who cover Hungary at international tournaments and cover their qualifying. They say that will change the style of play. It will be quite a negative performance. I think they will try and sit back. And Szoboszlai as well, what he gave to the team was the expertise at set pieces. So it's a massive blow for them to lose Szoboszlai, and it just means that they were underdogs before. They're even more underdogs now. But still there is that glimmer of hope because of the supporters and because third place can get you out of the group possibly.
And just on the fact that they are playing in front of a full house, presumably that is just down to the restrictions that are or are not in force in Budapest. Every stadium has to comply with its own local regulations. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. There is a bit of controversy about it here, but basically why it's happening, how it's happening, is that the government here say they have confidence in their vaccination programme. Over 50% of the population has been vaccinated. If you're vaccinated here, you get a vaccination certificate, and every fan who bought a ticket had to prove yesterday that they had been vaccinated. I went and saw the fans queuing up to get yellow wristbands, and that's how they got their tickets. Fans from abroad, for example, the Portugal fans today, they had to prove that they'd had a negative PCR COVID-19 test to get their ticket, to get their yellow wristband. So there are some restrictions in place, but I have to say, being here a few days, Mark, it feels there's a lot more freedom here in terms of the pandemic. It feels in Budapest than back in the UK, and that's not without its controversies. Some people are a bit worried about that.
OK, John, thank you very much. John Bennett in Budapest. Szoboszlai is a blow, Ian, for Hungary, as we were saying with John. And interestingly, it was the manager Marco Rossi who kind of made the decision to stand him down for the good of his career.
Yeah, it was a growing problem. I mean, the Hungarians have been together since the 17th of May, but they made that decision on June the 1st. 8 games in qualifying. Allied to that, they've also lost Kalmar as well, who didn't play as much in the qualifying period with a knee injury, and then throw in the fact that Zuzak, the former captain with 108 caps to his name, has since retired as well, and he played 8 times in qualifying. So they are missing a number of players. I think it was a bit of a boost that Roland Schuloy was able to be declared fit for this game. Plays for Freiburg, tireless up front, and he will try and link up with Soloy. But I think it's all about the fact that there's this atmosphere, and Portugal, I think you've already mentioned, Portugal can't afford to make a slow start. They haven't won a game at the opening fixture at a major finals in their last 5 tournaments since 2008. They can't afford a sloppy start here against Hungary.
I mean, they've got some attacking threat in there of Portugal, haven't they, Chris? I wonder whether Hungary think, because of the attacking threat that Portugal will have, maybe they can hit them on the counter. Maybe they'll overcommit, and then they might be able to hit them on the break.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just want to disagree with Ian slightly. They had a slow start in the Euros in 2016 and ended up winning it, didn't they? But anyway, aside from that, Hungary, you think that they have to sit in, they have to be difficult to beat, and they have to play on the counter-attack. And set pieces are going to be absolutely key this afternoon. From Portugal's point of view, though, I mean, where Ian was right in what he said, this group, you know, with France and Germany in it, that there is a risk of them going out if they're not at it. But having said that, you look at their team, they have strength and depth right through it, and they have Ronaldo, of course, who is such an inspirational player, can score goals, create chances, and he's the player who will lift the Portuguese team.
Can I just say the counter argument to that, Chris?
Well, there isn't one, because they won it.
Well, there is, because Group F last time 5 years ago was a group with Hungary, Iceland, Austria, and Portugal. I think it's slightly different this time. No team will want to slip up against the whipping boys.
No, and if you assume really 4 points is what gets you through, you might squeak through with 3, but 4 points is what gets you through. All of France, Germany and Portugal are going to have to pick up points against the other teams to want to go through. It's not just enough to beat Hungary and hope you go through on that.
And with that, you're spot on, Mark, and with that in mind, you can't afford a slow start.
Yeah, and well, the pressure is on, isn't it? for Portugal to perform, and we talk about how important momentum is. But if you're one of the Hungarian players, you could become a hero this afternoon. You know, packed stadium, the Puskás Arena named after one of the greatest players of all time. You know, what an opportunity. Be inspired by the crowd. It's a bit of a shot to nothing in many respects. You know, they're not going to get many chances. If they get a chance, they have to take it.
What I would say as well, Ian, just where we're talking about the attacking threat that Portugal have, I mean, they do have a central defensive partnership of Ruben Dias and Pepe. They do have William Carvalho, who might not have been flying at Real Betis, but has been much sought after in his career. They have Danilo as well, who has played in defence, but he's in midfield. So they do have defensive strength as well as those attacking threats.
Yes, they do. I mean, you know, this is a side, obviously the defending champions, aiming to be only the second team to win successive European Championships, but they are a stronger side than they were 5 years ago. And yesterday, the Italian coach for Hungary, Marco Rossi, was asked who will pose the threat, and he said, I could list the entire squad. I could just be the kit man or indeed the chauffeur for them. So, you know, they've got world-class players here, but I think also it's about the occasion and the fact that it is going to be the only venue with a 100% capacity. Hungary have got 3 free hits, in my opinion, in this group, and as Chris quite rightly says, they've got an opportunity to make themselves heroes, because they haven't seen an occasion like this in Budapest for 30 odd years.
They are unbeaten in 11 going into it as well, Hungary, so they'll have confidence from that. They don't concede many goals. They've beaten the likes of Turkey in recent times. I know Turkey didn't play particularly well against Italy, but you know, this isn't going to be so one-sided in my opinion.
So we have France-Germany at 8 o'clock. Now it's our first Euro 2020 game of the day. These two already arguing a little bit. It is slightly strained. They have been together since breakfast, and there was an incident at breakfast, and that has led to the strained relationship between the two of them. Hungary against Portugal with Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis.
Are you saying strange or strained? Or
strained.
All right.
Strained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full of beans, aren't you?
Yeah. I wish I could turn on a tap. I'd turn you off. You had a problem with that, didn't you, earlier on? You couldn't turn the water tap on?
No, that wasn't this morning. That was last night.
Oh, right, okay. Anyway, we're ready in Budapest, the Puskás Arena. What a huge game this is for Hungary. The biggest crowd for a competitive game in 36 years. But first of all, it's the anthem for Portugal, a Portuguesa. Estimated 5,000 Portugal supporters inside the Puskás Arena. Now for the Hungarian anthem that begins with a plea to bless Hungary, and I'm sure they will take the roof off in Budapest. from John Bennett, who's in Budapest, and he was telling us about the Carpathian Brigade, which is the official supporters group for Hungary. It's like they're ultras, really, and many of them are decked out in black, and there's a large chunk in the bottom tier of this three-tiered stadium, and they'd formed a mosaic in that end. There's a lot of colour inside the Puskás Arena. The Rubik's Cube was invented by a Budapest native. We've certainly got the red, we've got the green, we've got the white, we had a little bit of blue in there as well. So a lot of colour for a full house in Budapest on a very hot afternoon. I'm told very little breeze in the Hungarian capital, as there was yesterday. And for Hungary, well, the last time they played in a competitive fixture with a crowd like this was 36 years ago, when they played the Netherlands in a World Cup qualifier for the '86 World Cup. They had about 65,000 when this stadium was opened. It's only the 7th time I think they've actually played in the Puskás Arena, which is a fabulous three-tiered bowl-like arena, and everybody is just willing and cheering Hungary on. What an occasion to be a co-host at the European Championships for Hungary. Galaci is in goal. They're going to play with the three at the back of Botka, Orban and Soloy. Lovrencic will be the right wing back, Viola the left wing back, Klein Heisler, Nagy of Bristol City, and Schaefer the midfield behind Schuloy and Soloy. Whilst for Portugal, Patricio is in goal, Semedo, Pepe, Diaz and Guerreiro the defence. The three in midfield, well, in fact there'll be more of a 4-2-3-1. Danilo and William Carvalho will be the sitters, and then you'll have Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Jota behind a certain Cristiano Ronaldo. And the defending champions in such a tough group, Group F, and the referee, the very experienced Cüneyt Çakır from Turkey. Looking forward to this one, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. What an arena, what an atmosphere. I mean, if you can't be inspired by this, you won't be inspired by anything. What an opportunity for the Hungarian players. Yes, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to get anything out of this group, but they have a chance, and it's one step at a time. Get a result today, a positive result, and who knows? That's what they have to believe.
Do you remember the thunderclap from 2016? This is the Hungarian version. Building up to kick-off. Hungary in all red, playing from left to right. And we are underway in the Puskás Arena. It is a group that contains the winners from the last three major finals. Germany, Portugal and France. And then you've got the minnows, Hungary, who, let's not forget, in Lyon 5 years ago, 3 times they took the lead against Portugal in what was a very entertaining 3-3 draw. A result and the margin of goals that Portugal scored as well, that without that point and those 3 goals, they would have not qualified as one of the best 3-place sides in that tournament 5 years ago, and of course they went on to win it. However, Hungary have never beaten Portugal in 13 previous attempts. But there is still a lot of expectation in Budapest, and this is BBC Radio 5 Live, and of course later on at 8 o'clock we'll have the other game in Group F, and then everybody would have played their first match at Euro 2020. France, Germany, John Murray and Dion Dublin. But it's Hungary against Portugal, and Pepe to take an early free kick for Portugal to Semedo, only playing because of Cancelo having to withdraw through to COVID. Diogo Dalot, who was called up to the squad, not part of the matchday squad, as the ball is passed out with Pepe once more, and he hits a right-footed ball. He was looking there to try and get Jota into play, as Carvalho finds Ronaldo in a very snazzy change strip. Ronaldo and the Portuguese players. It's almost like a light blue with the Portuguese colours, the bands going across the front of their shirts.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. Portugal are playing from right to left.
And you can see, the early stages of the game, the very early stages, that Portugal are going to dominate possession. Hungary will sit in. They have the 3 big centre-halves, have the 2 wing-backs. They're a 5-3-2 out of possession, but the fact they're leading or leaving Sholoi and Soloi up top, they have to be the outlets. The captain Soloi, he'll be the target man, and Sholoi will be the one who tries to move in behind and stretch out that Portuguese back line.
Danilo passes the ball to Guerreiro, the left back for Portugal on the halfway line. Now finds Jota. Jota looks up. Bruno Fernandes is actually the furthest player forward for Portugal. Good tackle coming in there for Hungary and Botka.
Yeah. And listen to the roar. Just for a tackle. There's Jota trying to drive down the outside on the left wing, and Botka strong challenge. And then a bit of afters there.
Well, they're defending the end where those ultras are housed. Many of them in black t-shirts on a very warm afternoon in Budapest. And
yeah, that absorbs the heat as well, black t-shirts, doesn't it?
It does
Not
indeed.
sensible in this heat.
What did you say the other day? It was a wall of meat for Turkey. You've got a black wall, and in front of that black wall is Peter Galacci, who's known as Peter the Wall, the Leipzig goalkeeper who's been in terrific form. Although I'm sure he remembers that Fernandes did score one past him when he wasn't on particularly good form in a 5-0 defeat at Old Trafford in the Champions League for Leipzig. But as Chris says, Hungary come into this game unbeaten in 11. But for Portugal, under Fernando Santos, they have lost just 4 competitive games in 7 years whilst he has been in charge of Portugal. But just listen to the noise. And this is what Portugal have got to try and dampen down and quieten the crowd.
Yeah, and you know, I agree with that, but they've been there and done it, and here's an opportunity.
Jota forward, flag stays down for the time being. Jota's still going, Jota with a shot, Galacci beats it away. He really got hold of that left-footed, and Galacci turned it away towards his left-hand side. Semedo, was he caught there by Schaefer? Free kick, says Kunic Shakir, the Turkish referee.
Well, the Hungarian backline are all over the place, and there's Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side who plays the ball to Jota, who's made the run from the left-hand side into a central position, takes a touch with his right foot. Actually, a challenge comes in, and then 18 yards out, hammers a ball left-footed, and Galacci saves well down to his left-hand side. He's going to have a big game, isn't he, Galacci, for Hungary to get anything out of this game.
Well, it's a free kick on the right-hand side, just a few yards in from the right touchline. Portugal playing from right to left. And it is going to be Fernandes to take it. Bruno Fernandes, Pepe unchallenged. Pepe is still there. Referee's blown his whistle though, as he fired in a shot into the to the legs of Willy Orban, and a Hungary player is down. But I think probably from a Hungary point of view, they're going to have to try and frustrate Portugal as Sweden did with Spain last night.
Absolutely. Stay in the game, hang on in there, defend strongly, try and be organised, which they weren't a moment ago when Jota got in. And you can see the long ball going up to Soloi. He's so important for Hungary. Got to get hold of the ball and link the play.
Free kick in favour of Hungary there. Roland Sholoi, who was just fouled. He was trying to help out Soloi, his strike partner. That's what he'll do. He's a tireless worker.
And you can see that centre-halves have gone forward for Hungary. There's a free kick in a pretty central position. But this is where they have an opportunity to hurt Portugal.
Well, it's quite a high line that Portugal have got to protect Rui Patricio. It's chipped forward, drops on the edge of the area. Orban heads it. Cleared away, though, by Bernardo Silva. Played back by Kleinheisler. And then Lovrencic, who's actually a free agent, a veteran from Euro 2016, goes all the way back to Galacci. BBC Radio 5 Live, Group F, Hungary 0, Portugal 0. Also, of course, available through BBC Sounds. As Attila Soloi hits a long ball downfield, Ruben Dias getting in a bit of a tangle with Roland Sholoi. who goes to ground, but it's waved away by both the player, the Manchester City defender, and of course more importantly the referee.
Yeah, spoke about Scholloy will stretch that back line of Portugal. And it's one long ball in behind Diaz. There was a coming together, not enough in that though, I don't think, Ian.
Chris Sutton with us, watching this game, 0-0. As a Portugal player is down and Kunit Shakir is given a free kick. It's Semedo on the right-hand side, just caught a little bit there by Attila Fiola, the left wing-back.
It's an aggressive start. Just seeing that challenge from Diaz on Scholloy. Tangle of legs, but he's got to do that, Scholloy. Really get in behind. Try and exploit Pepe. How old's he now, Pepe? 38, 39?
Pepe's 38.
Wow. Still a great player, still a great leader.
It's his 16th appearance at now what is his 4th Euros. In comes the free kick, and it was Jota who has lifted it over the goal, right-footed. No real threat there to Galaci's goal, but did get away actually unmarked, but got it all wrong.
Here's Lovrencic, who he ran off. Diogo Jota. It was an opportunity. We spoke about Hungary's strength from set pieces, but on a couple of occasions now, Portuguese players have had a free effort in the Hungary box.
Talk about Pepe and his appearances at the Euros. Cristiano Ronaldo, the first man to play at 5 European Championships. It's his 22nd appearance. It's the most in the competition. A goal will take him ahead of Michel Platini. He's on the ball now. The boos and the whistles and then the cheers as the tackle comes in. But he'll relish this occasion. 2 balls on the pitch. So there's going to be a stoppage, I think, unless that ball's rolled out of play. But he was asked actually in the press conference yesterday about it, was Cristiano Ronaldo. And he said it'll be perfect. I just wish that every venue had a full house. Great for the viewers and the players. And full house in Budapest. And certainly Hungary in these opening 10 minutes are in no real hurry to take the throw, with Gago Lovrencic on the near side, the right.
And that was the same press conference where he moved the Coca-Cola along, I think, Deno.
Yeah, he did. 2 bottles, not the real thing really as far as he's concerned.
Drink water, he said. Can he turn water into wine for Portugal?
Semedo back with Pepe, strokes the ball out to defence, curling low ball. Guerrero just short of the halfway line. Jota now takes over, 0-0, just over 10 minutes. Ruben Diaz, Manchester City. 6 Premier League players plus Ronaldo. Adam Nagy of Bristol City in the Hungarian side. So a lot of familiar players are on show. Ruben Diaz over the halfway line.
They go into a back 3, don't they, when they're in possession. Portugal, Carvalho just dropping in between the centre halves, making a 3, pushing the full-backs higher up. The Portuguese are playing a game of patience here, though, manoeuvring the ball around, but Hungary sitting in, making it difficult.
It is a surprise, though, that for a country that has such a good record, the Seleção have qualified for every Euros and World Cup since 2000. They've reached the semi-final or better on 5 occasions, but not to have won your opening fixture since 2008.
Doesn't matter about the opening fixture, does it?
Does when you're in a...
It's about, yeah, but
does
it
when you're
doesn't
in a group with France and Germany?
We'll see.
Imagine if they were to be beaten today, then they'd be behind the 8 ball. Very, very difficult group.
It's not always how you start, it's how you finish.
Well, Portugal a testament to that from France in 2016. Drew all 3 of their group games, squeaking through, as we were saying, in that 3-3 draw with Hungary. Didn't actually win a game until they beat Wales in the semi-finals. You think of the last 16 in the quarters, both on penalties. So you're right, it's how you finish. Hungary 0, Portugal 0, though, in the start of this game. Danilo along the ground, Jota, sharp turn, looking to get away from Botka. Left-hand side, Uses the decoy of Guerrero, plays the ball in low and cleared away by Willie Orban.
Really poor cross. But here it comes, ball coming back.
And Jota seeing a lot of the ball. Bruno Fernandes couldn't take it in his stride. It was Guerrero who'd made that run forward. As behind that goal, the ultras in the black t-shirts just bouncing up and down in unison.
Yeah, and Guerrero there. Bruno Fernandes slides the pass through, left-hand side of the box. Guerrero goes down too easily. I think he's trying to simulate there, Ian. He's better than that.
Clearance from Orban at the back for Hungary. Bouncing ball goes over the head of Sholoi. Bounces now onto the chest of Guerrero. It was Sholoi then who made a tackle. The referee has given a free kick for a foul on Jota.
You can see the idea, the way Hungary are trying to play, and they're reliant on the Hungarian SAS, Sholoi and Sholoi, to link up. Sholoi buzzing in and around Sholoi when the ball is on its way. Have to play close together.
There's me thinking there was only one SAS.
Not in Hungary.
Ruben Diaz bypasses Danilo. Guerrero, the left back, forward to Jota, midway through the Hungary half. Back with Danilo once again. Carvalho turns inside the centre circle. Ball forward, Bruno Fernandes again, but just tucking in, and Fiola heads the ball back. Very experienced defender to Galacci. Let's get news of Andy Murray's latest comeback then at Queen's. Russell Fuller.
We have a win for Scotland, 6-3, 6-2. Murray has beaten Benoit Paire of France, who didn't look remotely interested for much of the match. But importantly, Murray serving well, moving well, and he's got a win in his first ATP singles match for 3 months.
Thank you, Russell. 0-0. Haven't missed much whilst we were briefly away at Queen's. Should say as well that the US Open Golf starts on Thursday. There'll be coverage from Ian Carter and the team from San Diego on Sports Extra at 10 o'clock from Thursday night for the first round. The first round of games in Euro 2020 will be completed after today. France, Germany to follow. Ball played back by Lovrencic to Orban, playing at the heart of the three-man defence. Willie Orban for Leipzig. Pops up with the odd goal, certainly did in qualifying at least, but that was a wasteful ball by Botka, and it goes all the way through, and Portugal will build from the back.
Yeah, I mean, when they actually get the ball at the back, they are being very, very direct, and it just allows Portugal to get the ball back. Hot evening, and really try and run this Hungarian team around.
I don't think our producer George is endearing himself to Alan Shearer, as that was a clash of heads. There's going to be a stoppage in play there, quite rightly so as well. Players are okay. Semedo and I think it's Fiola as well.
Both players. There's a long ball across the pitch. And the left wing back for Hungary and Semedo, eyes on the ball, both challenge. It's a really awkward fall for Semedo.
Yeah, I think it was more about the fall, wasn't it? It was very, very high. His head's come down first, yeah. But they're okay, the players, which is always good to see. But yeah, our producer George isn't endearing himself to Alan Shearer. I thought the original SAS. The other day he called Alan Gary, which didn't particularly, I wouldn't have thought, have gone down too well. And now he said, "Ari, the SAS, are you talking about Sturridge and Suarez?"
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Don't think they ever won the Premier League.
Anyway, play is back underway. BBC Radio 5 Live. 16 minutes play. And the boos are because Portugal didn't give the ball back to Hungary. Now Hungary got some defending to do. Ronaldo coming forward here. Ronaldo still going. Challenge was made just on the edge of the area. Very good challenge by Bristol City's Adam Nagy.
Yeah, and he's got such an important role. I thought the ball went out of play there. From Hungary, Sholoi, I thought, overran the ball, but you mentioned Adam Nagy sitting in front of the back three for Hungary. He's got to keep things simple, break things up, and just pop the ball off. Be really switched on and screen those three centre-halves.
He's the protective shield for Hungary. 0-0. Header back by Schaefer. Awkward ball from Attila Soloy out towards Viola. Met by the head of Pepe. Better header this time away from Attila Soloy on the occasion for the Hungary defender.
Pepe got a blow to the head there, challenge with Soloy. The game should be stopped.
Play continues. He's back onto his feet. He is at the minute holding his head is Pepe as Guerrero comes forward. Bruno Fernandes out to Jota. The return ball. Ronaldo had drifted into a more central area and it breaks down for Portugal. Just at the minute not clicking. They've only had the one opportunity where Galacci saved from Liverpool's Jota. Bernardo Silva trotting his way forward on the right side, turns. Semedo up with him as well. Bruno Fernandes, tight triangular passing movement, and then Viola puts it out of play. And Hungary working very, very hard. Probably still running on the adrenaline on what is such a fabulous occasion for one of the co-hosts.
Absolutely, and every challenge is being cheered by the crowd. They've just got to hang on in there. Good run from Ronaldo.
Pepe forward. Ronaldo hits it first time as it drops over his right shoulder. Flags up, but Galacci had made the save. To credit Galacci, he wasn't to know that the flag was going to go up, but as Ronaldo looks to the giant screen,
I tell you what's a very, very tight one. Ronaldo, clever movement. Pepe just over the halfway line into the Hungarian half, chips a ball over the left centre half of Hungary, and Ronaldo on the volley got in. That was very tight though, Ian. Good save from Galacci again.
Galacci. The thunderclap you can hear in the background, creating a real din. Soloy looking for Adam Soloy. Pepe, with his years of experience, coming back, and it was the Hungary captain Adam Soloy who just left a little bit of a late challenge there on Pepe.
Yeah, and Pepe is always dramatic. Double roll there. Gets on his feet, but that's the danger. You leave two up, always have a chance. If that front pairing from Hungary can link up. Pepe makes a meal of that, doesn't he?
When Ronaldo yesterday was asked about Portugal's slow starts in major tournaments, not having a win in their opening fixture in the last 5, he said, I'll take that if it means that we win the Euros as we did in 2016. And then Marco Rossi, the Italian, was asked about Ronaldo's comments, and he says, I'll gladly make a deal with him. I'd sign on the dotted line immediately if he could make that happen. 0-0. A lot of stoppages in the game at the minute, isn't it? That will suit Hungary.
Absolutely. Hungary want to turn this into an ugly match. They're not going to outplay Portugal.
0-0. Schaefer. Soloy comes deep, just over the halfway line, spreads it out to Lovrencic, who waits. The run going ahead of him was from Endra Botka, one of the defenders. I thought there was a foul on there, but not given by the referee.
He made a meal of that. Botka went down too easily. Guerrero just in behind him. Wasn't enough in that.
21 minutes played. Guerrero with a throw. Down the line he goes towards Jota, who was backing into Botka, and gets another throw.
Looks sharp, doesn't he, Jota?
Yes, he does.
Had a frustrating season at Liverpool, of course. A good season in terms of, I think, his goal tally and the way he played, but had injury issues, which was unfortunate for him and Liverpool, of course.
Did well for Portugal in the World Cup qualifiers in March. 3 goals in 2 of their games. Carvalho has gone forward now for Portugal. Narge has gone with him. Carvalho goes on the outside. Narge stuck to his task well behind for a corner kick. I mean, this is a player who a few years ago was being linked with a move to the Premier League. powerful midfielder, 29 years of age, but he's struggled with injury, missed 5 months this season with a knee problem, but very, very strong, skillful, as Bernardo Silva waits to take the corner kick. Still goalless in Budapest. In fact, it'll be Bruno Fernandes to take the corner kick, headed up in the air by Soloy, headed back by Danilo, headed further away by Fiola, and then Pepe running back towards the halfway line finds Bernardo Silva. Carvalho at a walking pace and almost standing still, dominating with possession, 66%, but it's still goalless. Bruno Fernandes to Bernardo Silva, closed down on the right hand side, brought away by Schaefer. Looked like a foul there by Schaefer on Schaefer. He gets the free kick.
He's pumped up, isn't he? Haven't seen too much of him on the ball. Not so sure, reading, whether he would have made the squad had Szoboszlai been fit, but he's come in. What an opportunity for the young man. Good touch on the left-hand side for Hungary. Gets away from Fernandes, and Fernandes brings him down.
They're being carried forward, though, aren't they, on this noise, this atmosphere, the excitement in Budapest, as Rafael Guerreiro back with Ruben Dias over the halfway line. It's a steady pace from Portugal, probably a lot to do with the heat as well, but they're playing by and large in front of Hungary. Now Josh is going to try and get round the back on the left-hand side. Botka comes across, last touch was off Jota, and it's a goal kick. And that's why you can hear the Hungarian cheers. Facing a very committed side.
It should have been a corner. I think the important thing from Portugal's point of view, and the way both sides are set up, Portugal really need to utilise the wide areas, move the ball quickly from side to side. See Hungary with their set up the 3-5-2. Portugal can use the fullbacks, get overloads in wide areas, quick switches of play. They can really stretch Hungary. The longer this game goes on, become very difficult for the three Hungarian midfielders to keep getting across on the side of the ball.
We did the opening game together, and you sense that there wasn't a great deal of excitement in the build-up to that opening match in Rome. Not the case in Budapest. There has been a real buzz over the last 2 or 3 days, and there's certainly a buzz and a real din inside the Puskás Arena that was only opened in November 2019. Just stepping away is Botka for Hungary. Foul given away by Jota.
It's just the question for Hungary: can they make better use of the ball when they get it? And they just don't seem to have the confidence when they're on the ball to make passes and take the sting out of the game.
That's where Szoboszlai is such a miss for them, isn't it? That creative spark. Attila Soloy, Botka forward. Challenge from Danilo on Kleinheisler. Jota now for Portugal. Finds Ronaldo. Ronaldo does a little step over, then a little drag, and then without looking up, he just passed the ball to his right, short and square to Bruno Fernandes.
Great recovery.
They've won it back though now, and this is with Bernardo Silva. Orban makes the challenge inside the penalty area, and Cunait Shakir with a wave of the left hand tells the Manchester City player to get onto his feet. It's fired up the crowd once again. They're up and out of their seats in the Puskás Arena, but it's still 0-0.
Yeah, brilliant from Ronaldo. Lost the ball initially, his dancing feet, poor pass, but immediately reacted, won the ball back, slipped Silva in the right-hand side of the box, and Orban, strong challenge. I thought he got the ball.
High ball hoisted downfield, into the penalty area it goes. Fernandes with a cross, headed away by Attila Soloy. Semedo, right-hand side. Bernardo Silva now. Edge of the penalty area, turns, behind him was Bruno Fernandes. Semedo now delivers the cross, very, very deep, headed away and headed to safety by Botka, and it runs out of play for a throw as the ball-headed Italian coach Marco Rossi bellows out some instructions in his technical area. And talking of bellowing, listen to that noise again. They're creating a terrific atmosphere, the Hungarian supporters.
Some of the Hungarian players are breathing hard. They are being really worked.
This is Bernardo Silva. Fires over the cross and it flashes across the face of goal and out for a goal kick. One of my first ever European trips was to Budapest. Ferencváros were playing at the Oloy Stadium in those days, and their ultras, I think they're known as the Green Monsters, created a real din. It was in the days of when Kevin Keegan was the Newcastle manager, but they are fanatical, and I would imagine there's a few of those Green Monsters in and amongst the Carpathian Brigade in that end away behind the goal of Galaci. Semedo forward, still 0-0. Low cross takes a deflection. Galaci can't prevent it. It's gone behind for a corner kick.
What was there? What was the Green Monsters chant at that particular time?
I'll hum it for you. Corner kick then for Portugal, the defending champions, and we're approaching the half hour. Bernardo Silva, something was just thrown there from the crowd. In comes the cross, didn't hit him, but there was an object thrown from the crowd. It landed probably about a foot away from the Manchester City player.
Yeah, I think that's the second time that's happened. First corner as well. Something was thrown. Bernardo Silva just getting on with it.
Hungary have a throw. Lovrencic is going to take it. Down the line he goes, right-hand side. Unable to control it was Adam Soloy.
Yeah, he's got to make that stick. It's so important that he can buy a bit of time for his team, hold it in, win a free kick.
Attila Soloy gets there before Bernardo Silva. The ball won't go out of play on a hot and sticky afternoon in Budapest, kept in play by Carvalho. Ruben Dias forward to Ronaldo, coming deep now and on the left hand side. Portugal play from right to left as this first half of their opening game in Group F. Every outfield player is in the Hungary half. Bernardo Silva, Semedo on the overlap if required, right corner of the area. Bernardo Silva chips over the cross. Ronaldo heads it wide, climbed high, and he gives the thumbs up as well, but just couldn't direct the header goalwards. In that 3-3 draw, he scored the 2 goals when they met at Euro 2016 in Lyon. That's the first sight of goal by a trademark leap. And the way he hangs so well in the air by Ronaldo, but he just couldn't guide it goalwards.
Yeah, air time from Ronaldo. What a leap it is. Standing jump. I mean, he has incredible power. It's Bernardo Silva chopping back it on the right-hand side of the box on his left foot, just lifting the ball to the far post. He can do that, Portugal, knowing Ronaldo is so strong in the air.
But Chris, we've been playing for, what, half an hour? Jota had the early shot that was saved by Galaci, and then you've had that header from Ronaldo. They're not carving out a lot of opportunities here, the defending champions.
No, absolutely, and that's a credit to Hungary and the organisation at the back so far. Talk about organisation, he's so important, isn't he? Willie Orban. Could say the Orbaniser, couldn't you?
Galaci downfield. Headed away by Guerrero and played back, but he is a key man. 3 goals in his 9 appearances in qualifying.
Wasn't even his first choice country to play for, Ian, was it?
No, it wasn't. No. Switched in October 2018. 2 caps for Germany's under-21s. But he has now got that connection, and he's a vital player for them, the central defender from Leipzig, 28 years of age, holding it all together in the centre of that 3-man defence. Guerrero of Dortmund gets it back from Jota. Danilo and Carvalho have both gone forward as well. Everybody is back. Every red shirt is back behind the ball for Hungary. Now they've lost it, and it's with Adam Soloy, who looks up, looks for the support, and that was it, because everybody was back on defensive duties. It was slow in coming, and in the end the forward ball to Roland Soloy, they weren't able to take advantage of that break, and that's going to be the problem for Hungary.
Absolutely. And City, famous for its bridge of chains. It's important that the front pairing for Hungary link up. They haven't done so far.
Another object was thrown from the crowd. That actually seemed to be quite close to their own goalkeeper, Gulacsi, for this Hungary side, who are yet to register a shot on target. Mind you, they've only had one effort on target themselves of Portugal so far. Now Lovrencic finds Soloy.
3 on 3.
Soloy, though, drifts out towards the left when he had two players going ahead of him, almost as if there was a
lack of confidence.
Drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Had the opportunity, just didn't have the courage and conviction there, Soloy.
Schaefer now is forward left-hand side. Semedo marks him. Back it goes to Fiola. Nadj of Bristol City. Got a lot of red shirts forward in the Portugal half now. And it's with Attila Soloy, who's hoisted a ball out towards Lovrencic. And as the defenders come across and cleared the ball, it's been smacked up and reared up and hit Lovrencic full on in the face, and then it goes out of play for a goal kick.
Oh, Lovrencic, there's a long diagonal ball, takes a touch with his right foot, bounces down, and Diogo Jota volleys the ball straight in his mush, and then it hits him and goes out for a goal kick. How unfortunate was that? Blimey, that must have hurt.
Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. 0-0. Ball swept long by Pepe. If they can get to half-time, that will give the Hungarian players a lot of confidence. They'll be given such an ovation as well by this raucous crowd to give them a lift, to know that they're still holding the defending champions at bay. As Guerreiro comes forward now for Portugal. Ronaldo, left-hand side, just in from the touchline. Again, does not one, but two step-overs. And then sends over a cross, which comes off the chest of Semedo. Forward then to Bruno Fernandes. Back with Pepe once more, just outside the centre circle of the Hungarian half. The interception from Schaefer. Schaefer full of running, the ball won't go with him. Sliding challenge comes in from Bernardo Silva. Adam Soloy now takes over, running forward and being urged on, but they've crowded him out, and then Soloy was caught, and a free kick goes in his favour, and they're urging Cüneyt Çakır to show a yellow card.
And it was good from Schaefer initially, too strong for Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva brings him down in the end, and then Soloy takes over, the captain, the leader of the team. Good feet for it from the big centre forward. And eventually he's crowded out, but he is brought down, and this is an opportunity for Hungary. A wide left area, free kick, 30 yards out.
Well, Hungary are certainly showing plenty of appetite for this challenge that they're up against with Portugal, and the atmosphere just speaks for itself. Again, people all the way around the three-tiered stadium rising to their feet. It's going to be an in-swinging free kick. Roland Soloy to take it. Adam Soloy and Attila Soloy are just two of the targets. In it comes now, and it was Adam Soloy, and it was claimed by the goalkeeper Rui Patricio. It was straight at him, but nevertheless the applause just for the sheer endeavour is being appreciated by the Hungarian support.
Just imagine if they score. That was for a header straight at the goalkeeper.
Guerreiro linking up with Ronaldo, left-hand side. Interception from Nadj. Hungary coming forward. Adam Soloy, as Nadj had continued his run, and in the end he's decided just to keep on running at Pepe and force him to go all the way back to Rui Patricio.
It was a good delivery, wasn't it, from the free kick? Soloy, right-footed in-swinger. Soloy, his strike partner, getting up, 12, 14 yards out level with the near post.
Ball forward, Jota, flag had stayed down, miscontrolled the ball, kept in play well by Botka. and cleared by Lovrencic. You hear about occasions when the supporters are the 12th man. I think they're the 12th and they're the 13th man for Hungary tonight, and the patience is wearing thin. And Cüneyt Çakır has shown a yellow card to Manchester City's Ruben Dias.
It was a bouncing ball, wasn't it? And Dias is clearly frustrated with that decision to award him a yellow card. I think he's saying it was there to be won. I think he's saying to the referee, and quite rightly so, I won the ball. That's harsh. Won the ball with the outside of his right foot. Both players competing for the ball. And Dias now putting himself under a tiny bit of pressure.
Yep, first booking of the game. 0-0, cleared downfield by Botka. Up towards Klein Heisler, backing into his man. Pepe now forward, Danilo inside Carvalho. Schaefer, who's won the ball back. Klein Heisler now, quite stocky. With the bright orange boots. And now Orban to Attila Soloy. Fiola to come forward, the left wing back. Fiola closed down and dispossessed by Bernardo Silva, but he runs it out of play for a throw. And Hungary are in the Portuguese half, and it's still 0-0, and we have about 6 minutes to go to half-time.
And just taking a breather now.
Captain Adam Soloy backing into the penalty area, trying to turn. Schaefer tries to help him out. Pepe, with his years of experience in the penalty area, clears. Bernardo Silva's ball is won back by Nagy. Bernardo Silva, though, takes it away from Nagy. Now to Carvalho. But Hungary are just swarming around the Portuguese players, buzzing around like bees in a honeypot in those red shirts. Must have been 4 or 5 of them there, trying to help win it back as Klein Heisler flick headers the ball away. And then it's now a potential break on for Guerrero. Early ball up towards Jota. Jota left-hand side, the tempo's picking up. 5 minutes to go to half-time, 0-0. Jota comes inside, Jota to the edge of the area. Can't thread it through, cleared away by Fiola. Tight and compact, the Hungarian defence.
Yeah, it is. That was a chance, though, for Jota to either feed a teammate or drive at the Hungarian backline.
Semedo makes a run into the penalty area. Saved by Gulacsi. It was Jota who found himself the turn and the shot, and Gulacsi made the save, and now he whips the crowd up, and this is how they respond.
It's a good save from Gulacsi. Really well worked from Portugal. Patience on the right-hand side. Semedo to the byline, pulls it back, and Bernardo Silva, such quick feet, swivels 8 yards out, level with the near post, fires the shot in. It actually goes through Willy Orban's legs, and Gulacsi, instinctive save. It is straight at him. Nonetheless, the ball was travelling at pace. Important save that.
He had to stretch to control the ball. If he'd have let it run through,
difficult one.
Bruno Fernandes was probably in a better position.
Did he get the shout?
If he did, he probably didn't hear it, judging by the amount of noise.
Still would feel he should have scored, Bernardo Silva.
Free kick for Portugal. There's a good ball in from Guerrero, headed away though by Adam Soloy, the captain, the striker. And now Roland Schulle will just have to wait. The ball won't go out of play. They're going to have to try and play their way out of trouble, and they've lost the ball, but Lovrencic dives in to help win it back. And then Adam Soloy, unable to control the ball. It just bounces around waist height off an outstretched leg and out of play for a throw.
It was all Marco Rossi. He's incredulous with the way they gave the ball away there, Hungary. Another wave of attack from Portugal.
Bernardo Silva running forward. Semedo of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Carvalho inside to Danilo. Bruno Fernandes tells him to switch play out towards the left-hand side. Ruben Dias has to go back. Every red shirt back behind the ball. 3.5 minutes to go to half-time. It's still 0-0. Ball played out to Bernardo Silva. Down by the corner flag, keeps it in play. Fiola is with him. Bernardo Silva plays it back along the ground. Laid off by Carvalho. Bruno Fernandes feeds it then towards Bernardo Silva on the inside, checks back on the outside with a little cut back. Nagy was there.
So many bodies back. Hungarian defenders back inside their box. And you hear another roar. In fact, well, they didn't get the free kick.
No, they thought that Roland Šuloj was impeded. Portugal have it. This is Jota. He's been heavily involved for Portugal. Danilo, Ruben Dias, Carvalho central position. 2 over on the left-hand side. One of them now is Ronaldo. Guerreiro on the overlap if required. Plays the ball to the Dortmund player. It's forced away from goal though by Lovrencic. And the bald-headed Hungarian coach Marco Rossi is just ordering his team to try and get out. He doesn't want them to sit too deep. Guerreiro. Botka sticking to the challenge. Guerreiro tries to spin away from Botka.
Gotta be a free kick there.
Orban, Guerreiro prods it back. Bruno Fernandes into the penalty area. Ronaldo running in, couldn't keep it down. He skied it over the bar. What an opportunity that was for Portugal.
And head in hand from Ronaldo. The ball fizzed in from Bruno Fernandes. Ronaldo 6 yards out, centre of the goal, just the keeper to beat. The ball just bounces in front of Ronaldo, but he can't miss that. He cannot miss that. It's about concentrating on the connection, and the ball goes well over the bar in the end. What a chance for Ronaldo. Just on half-time, Portugal should be in front.
By far the best opportunity of the game. Ronaldo arriving late, close range, couldn't keep it down with a goal at his mercy. And Cristiano Ronaldo will not have many more better opportunities to try and register his 105th goal for his country. That was a huge let-off for Hungary.
I can't remember many times in his career where he's missed such an easy opportunity by his standards.
Here he is. He actually looked across to the assistant referee, I think, but there was no way he was going to be offside, arriving from late.
He normally gobbles those chances up, doesn't he? I mean, the ball was fizzed in. It did bounce just in front of him. Nonetheless, a player of his quality, you expect the net to bulge.
We're inside the last 60 seconds of the first half of normal time. There will just be 1 minute of additional time to be played, and it is still Hungary 0, Portugal 0.
I mean, this, don't know what you think, Ian. You know, we were lucky enough to be at the Italy-Turkey game. It feels like a similar game in terms of Portugal totally dominant in this first half.
High ball over the top, looking for Bruno Fernandes. The ball played out to Bernardo Silva. Cross comes in from Fernandes, headed away by Orban. He really did attack that inside that penalty area. Ruben Dias to Guerreiro. Guerreiro hits it forward. There was Ronaldo pushed over by one of his own players there. Šuloj now takes over. Šuloj coming forward, and Semedo takes it away off his toes. You know what, Chris? I watched the game last night on BBC television with Steve Bauer and Danny Murphy doing the commentary, and it felt like a matter of time before Spain scored. However, Spain in the second half never really got going as much as they did in the first half. I wonder if Portugal will have to come out and learn from maybe their lessons from their Iberian counterparts, because here Hungary have just been terrific, so committed.
Yeah, but I mentioned Italy and you know, the game Italy and Turkey held out in the first half, and Italy eventually took their opportunity and won the game comfortably. But that was a big miss from Ronaldo, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That was the golden chance of the first half.
Well, by my watch, the additional 60 seconds, and there is indeed the whistle from Cüneyt Çakır. All eyes on Cristiano Ronaldo, who had the perfect opportunity to put Portugal ahead, but he blazed over from close range. Galaci has made a couple of good saves from Jota. Ronaldo's header wide. The only real effort that Hungary have had was from Adam Šuloj, but his header from the captain was straight at Uri Patricio. But the noise and the atmosphere and the excitement inside the Puskás Arena is something that has certainly carried the Hungary players along, and it's carried them to a goalless draw at half-time. Hungary 0, Portugal 0. Mark?
I know you're comparing it a bit with Italy-Turkey, Chris, but as Ian said, you know, they're really, really dogged and up for this at Hungary. I'm not sure Turkey were quite as vociferous, really, as Hungary have been.
I don't know in the first half, but you know, Hungary have been inspired by the crowd, by the noise in the stadium. I mean, they are, let's get it right, Hungary are rough and ready. I mean, they aren't a great technical team. They hoof the ball up the pitch to the big centre forward. Soloy, try and get Soloy running off him. It's been wave after wave of Portuguese attacks, and in the final third, I have to say Portugal just haven't done enough. Having said all that, the opportunity which Ronaldo has, I can't remember him missing too many like that in his whole career. That was an enormous miss. Hungary needed half-time. The issue for them is, I mean, can they keep up this work rate, this intensity which they've defended with in the second half? I'm not so sure they can.
You think they'll just tire? Do you both? I suppose mentally as well as physically.
Well, adrenaline is a wonderful thing, and they will be hoping. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Marco Rossi uses his substitutions, but they are being stretched, aren't they? Portugal dominating possession, haven't done enough with the ball, but the Hungarians are hanging on in there, and boy did they need half-time, and they'll need to regroup. But I mean, you know, going in level at half-time, I think that's, you know, that Marco Rossi will be happy with that, but how are they going to hold out in this second half? I don't know.
Second half on the way here on 5 Live. Then from 8 o'clock, full commentary of France against Germany. Highlights of both games tonight on BBC One. 12 minutes to 6. Here's Nick Hatfield.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening. A report on the unsolved murder of a private investigator in 1987 has accused the Met Police of a form of institutional corruption. An independent panel found that the force was more concerned about concealing and denying its own failings in the case of Daniel Morgan, who was found dead in a pub car park in South London. His brother is Alistair Morgan.
I'm very pleased, if you can be pleased about something like that the panel has concluded that the Met is guilty of institutional corruption. I would like to see re-education, accountability, a whole new ethos in the police.
Well, the Met Police Commissioner, Dame Cressida Dick, has apologised and says it's a great regret that no one has been brought to justice. Nicola Sturgeon says it's likely there will be a delay in the further easing of coronavirus restrictions in Scotland. Rules were due to be relaxed on the 28th of June, but that will probably be pushed back 3 weeks. Ms Sturgeon says it will give health officials more time to get jabs in arms.
We do hope that vaccination is increasingly protecting people against serious illness. If this is indeed the case, then our experience of this virus will become different and our ability to cope with it in a less restrictive way will become much greater.
The Trade Secretary, Liz Truss, has told the BBC a new trade deal between the UK and Australia will not harm British farmers. She denied suggestions that imports of Australian beef will flood Britain. Some UK farmers fear they may be undercut on price and standards. The BBC's Director General, Tim Davie, says he's spoken directly to the royal household over the Martin Bashir controversy. A report found the journalist used deceitful behaviour to secure an interview with Princess Diana in 1995. Mr Davie told a committee of MPs he felt deep sympathy for Princes William and Harry, and an Egyptian vulture has been seen in the UK for the first time in more than 150 years. It's believed the bird may have come to the Isles of Scilly from northern France. If it's proved to be a wild vulture, it would be the first sighting here since 1868.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen live on digital, online, smart speaker or the BBC Sounds app.
In travel news, we'll start in Glasgow with the Springburn Road. Both directions, it's currently closed between the M8 junction 15 and Glasgow. It's all because of a police incident and it's causing long delays in the area. The M6 northbound between junction 10 Walsall and junction 10A, the M54. Been a few things on that stretch actually. So there was the accident and the oil spillage and a broken down lorry. One lane still closed. There are long delays back past junction 6, Spaghetti Junction. The M5 is also congested as a result, and so is the A38M in Birmingham too. The M1 heading south before junction 21 for Leicester. The accident there has been moved, but it has left some long delays. And the A14 in Cambridge is closed westbound between junction 24B and 23 for Godmanchester. They're doing emergency repair work there now. Congestion goes back to Bar Hill at junction 25 and routes through Huntingdon also very busy. Michelle Dignan, 5 Live Travel.
Euro 2020. Wall-to-wall football.
The wait is over.
Headed down and in. Oh, and the Netherlands are back in front. I think it's Dumfries.
Guess who it is? Who scored a header?
Dumfries, who missed that golden opportunity with the header in the first half, has taken a much more difficult chance in the second half. What a game in Amsterdam.
The penalty area is packed. Perisic with the throw. It's headed away. It comes out for a shot on the turn, which flies away over the top of the bar. And the final whistle goes. And England have seen it out for an opening victory here against Croatia.
Check 5 Live online or BBC Sounds for the full fixture list. Euro 2020.
On 5 Live and across the BBC.
The wait is over. Euro 2020.
With Mark Chapman on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Goalless in Budapest between Hungary and Portugal, France and Germany to come from 8 o'clock tonight. Let's go around the day's other sport and go to Queen's first of all, where Russell Fuller's been watching Andy Murray.
6-3, 6-2. He's won his first ATP singles match for 3 months. Handy opponent in that was the 12th time in 14 tournaments this year that Benoit Paire has lost in the first round. But Murray's movement was good. He broke in the first set with a running forehand down the line winner and got the first of a couple of breaks in the second with an angled backhand cross-court pass once again on the move. Top seed and top 10 player Matteo Berrettini will be a much tougher task in the second round on Thursday. But as the start goes, a very promising one for Murray.
And John Hunt has been at Royal Ascot for the opening day.
Yes, 3 top-level races, the star billing today, Mark. The St James's Palace Stakes winner, Poetic Flare, the undoubted highlight, I'd say, of the season so far, not just today. A 4 1/4 length success there for Jim Bolger and Kevin Manning. Absolutely terrific. This horse is so tough. That was his 4th race in just 7 weeks. Adds to his 2,000 guineas win from earlier in the season. So he was absolutely excellent. So too was Oxted winning the King's Stand Stakes, the big sprint of the day. Last year's hero and defending champion Batash finishing only 4th there. The winner was ridden by Kieran Fallon Jr. His dad Kieran Sr. won 30 races here over the years. This was young Kieran's first ever success at Royal Ascot. And you can't keep Frankie Dettori away, can you? His 74th success at Royal Ascot was achieved today as well when Palace Pier strode to an authoritative length and a quarter win in the Queen Anne Stakes. And we're all back tomorrow, of course. Mark, tomorrow's feature, the Prince of Wales' Stakes. Dettori on board Lord North, last year's winner once again, and it's great to see one of the champions from last year, Love. She was undoubtedly the best three-year-old around last year. It's her first run of the season tomorrow for Aidan O'Brien.
And we'll bring you data of Royal Ascot here on 5 Live. One domestic football line for you. Tottenham are reportedly close to appointing Paulo Fonseca as their new manager. He was sacked in April by Roma. Roma had replaced Fonseca with Jose Mourinho, and now Fonseca is set to replace Mourinho at Tottenham. Let's go back to the Euros. Wales taking on Turkey this time tomorrow. Rob Page's side drew their opening game, of course, against Switzerland. Their opponents beaten by Italy. The Turkish manager, Senyor Güneş, has described tomorrow's game as a final. Robert Page was asked whether he agreed.
Yeah, we can see that. We can see that they probably looked at the fixtures coming into the tournament, into the group. Saw that they had a very difficult opener against the favourites, Italy. So they'd be looking at our game to get the 3 points, absolutely. So we're fully prepared for that. Like I said, for us to get off to a positive start and get a point, having gone a goal behind against a very good Swiss team, there's a lot of positives to come out of that. It's not all about the performance. It's about sometimes in tournament football, you have to find a way to win. And we've certainly done that. We've shown we can do that. We've shown resilience. But we're fully prepared for a tough game. And if you get 4 points from 2 games, then it sets us up nicely.
Do you think you need to win to progress from the group, Rob?
No, there's another game left. So we're just taking each game as it comes, Rob. And like I said, we've also identified this game as one that we can do all right in. So, yeah, it'll make for an entertaining game.
Rob Phillips put in the questions to Robert Page. Let me ask you the same question then, Rob, in Baku that you asked Page. Do you think they have to win tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, I don't think any Wales fan would fancy having to go to Italy on Sunday to get something to get out of the group. So I think it is huge for them. You might say it clearly is huge for Turkey as well. Their manager was pulling no punches on it, was he, Mark? It is a final for them because it's difficult to see them rescuing another defeat after their opening loss. So, yeah, it's huge for Wales and Turkey. And it'll be like a home game for Turkey. We've had confirmation tonight from the Azerbaijan Football Federation that they've sold 30,000 tickets, and the capacity will be 34,500 at the Olympic Stadium in Baku, and you can guarantee that 34,000 of those will be supporting Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, there's a close relationship there, isn't there? And also, actually, I mean, I have to say, I thought the Turkish fans were really vocal in the first game in Rome, actually, and at times in the first half in particular, they were noisier than the Italian side. So it will be quite a tricky atmosphere for the Welsh tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been talking to Gareth Bale about just that tonight, and he was saying that he sort of took it in his stride, as you might, with given the number of big games that he's played. But he said, look, sometimes it can drive you on. They're aware of it. Rob Page has said that he's spoken to the squad about what to expect. It's how they react on the night. And again, as Joe Rodon, the Tottenham defender, said earlier in the week, you know, the thing about having a big crowd like that is that if Wales can silence them or maybe take the lead, then that might turn them against their own team. So it can work both ways, but you'd probably rather be in Turkey's shoes with that sort of backing behind them.
What are you expecting as regards the starting 11?
Well, I mean, the big debate prior to Switzerland was, would Kiefer Moore start? He did, and how? I think there may be changes. Rob Page has said tonight there won't be wholesale changes, but I thought Wales looked so vulnerable at the back that he may want to freshen that up and maybe go with 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs just to add a bit more pace and get players forward to support Kiefer Moore more than they did on Saturday.
Thank you very much, Rob. Commentary then of that Wales game against Turkey on 5 Live tomorrow from 5 o'clock. Let's switch to Scotland. Steve Clarke has this afternoon defended David Marshall following yesterday's 2-0 defeat against the Czech Republic. The goalkeeper was caught out of position for Patrick Schick's spectacular second goal.
David's fine, experienced player, knows the game. Probably faced that type of shot. I think he said something about 50 times in his career, and that's the only time it's gone in. It happens. It happens. I don't understand the criticism of David. It was a shot for Jack Henry at the edge of the box. 3 seconds later, the ball's in the back of our net. The block shot could go anywhere. It felt perfect for him to run onto and hit. It's one of these things. We've been level-headed all the way through. We try not to get too high when things are going well. We try not to get too low when things are a little bit negative. And we just prepare for the games the way we always prepare for the games. And that's what we'll do again.
Chris Sutton, was it just one of those things?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm slightly worried about Scotland now. Just from the nature of there was so much expectancy. I heard Steve Clarke say about, don't get too high and, don't get too low. They should be somewhere in between. But after that defeat, it just seems like the whole Scottish nation now, they are totally deflated. They don't fancy their chances. And they shouldn't feel like that. I saw a picture, I thought today, of Kieran Tierney back training. Now, listen, I think Steve Clarke got many of his selections wrong. I think certainly Dykes over Shea Adams didn't make any sense to me. Shea Adams is a better centre-forward. I think he was sentimental with that. And Stephen O'Donnell in that right wing-back position, I think there are better players, the likes of Nathan Patterson and James Forrest, who can play that role better. It was such an important game. It was bigged up as such a big game because Scotland have had a good record as of late against the Czech Republic. Having said all that, they beat their C or D team, didn't they? Over in the Czech Republic a while ago, and the last game at Hampden was pretty close. But now they've still got to believe and have hope, but feel that the belief of the Scottish nation has gone now, and it shouldn't be like that. They've got to pick themselves up and have a go at England.
But was that goal just one of those things?
Right. Yes, I thought it was a brilliant goal. Brilliant goal, and we can maybe blame David Marshall for his positioning, but we don't know what Steve Clarke told him about playing high. I thought you have to say that was slick from Schick.
Okay. Grief. The team's back out, Ian.
Yes, they are.
Thank goodness for that. Do you want to take over?
I can do.
Miserable,
what time's your highlights tonight, Mark?
Do you know what? I'm not 100% sure. 10:45 maybe. After, let's go with after the news.
Okay, after the news, we'll see you on the box later on.
Can't wait.
Go and enjoy the makeup. Yeah, back underway. Hungary 0, Portugal 0 for the second half, and the Hungary players will just hope to give it a go again. That'll basically be the message from Marco Rossi. A number of the supporters are still getting back to their red bucket seats around what is a fabulous arena, the Puskás arena, and neither side has made a change at the start of the second half as Pepe looks for an early ball, a long ball into the penalty area for Bruno Fernandes, and it runs off the legs of Orban and goes behind for a corner kick. So I'll run through the two teams once we've watched this corner kick. But Portugal being held by Hungary at the moment. In fact, the assistant referee said it's a goal kick, so it means we can do it now.
Is that an offside?
Galacci in goal. Botka, Orban and Attila Soloy are the three defenders. Lovrencic and Fiola are the wing-backs, right and left respectively. Then it's with Klein, Heisler, Nagy and Schaefer. It's Bernardo Silva wins the ball back on the right-hand side, cut out by Schaefer. And then the front two are Adam Soloy and Shuloy. Cross from Semedo. Goes behind for a corner. Portugal very quickly. Patricio in goal. Back four of Semedo, Pepe, Ruben Dias and Guerreiro. Carvalho and Danilo. Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Jota and Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal in their change strip. Playing from left to right with like a very pale, almost like a little bit, it's like a mint green, is it? It's very, very pale. And the Portuguese colours in broad strips going across the front of their jerseys. In comes the corner kick. Good save by Galacci to keep out Pepe's downward header. He really had to move low away towards his right-hand side. He was fully extended, got both hands to it, and that was a very good save from the Leipzig goalkeeper.
That was a big save. Peter the Great there, wasn't he? As an outswinger from Bruno Fernandes, and Pepe backpedaling, starting position just about 10 yards out. He's backpedaling level with the far post. Has to create his own power. What a save that is from Galacci.
Forward, cleared away by Lovrencic. Carvalho just comes across though and plays the ball back to Pepe.
I think that was creeping in, wasn't it? The header from Pepe. Got his feet going well, Galacci, and diving, sprawling to his right-hand side. Good hand.
He was at Liverpool, didn't make any appearances during his time at Anfield, but we've seen a little bit of him in the Champions League last season against Tottenham, and this season against Manchester United for Leipzig, as Bernardo Silva tries to weave his way forward.
You don't forget the little guys as well. Hereford, Ian.
Yeah. I think Tranmere and Hull City as well, wasn't it?
I thought Hull was a big club.
Ball played back. Pepe. Danilo. Don't try and get me into trouble with Hull City supporters. Pepe. Because I tell you what, the Tigers bite. Here is Bernardo Silva. Infield. Carvalho. Hungary have two banks of four, and even the front two, Shuloy and Soloy, are coming back as well to help out. Now Nagy breaks from ranks.
They're getting deeper and deeper. The question is, can they hold out playing this way? Struggle to get up the pitch in the first half, and they seem to be 10 yards deeper defensively in this second half, and it's just wave after wave of attack from Portugal.
Just to confirm, the Euro 2020 highlights with Mark are on BBC One at 11:15 as Hungary come forward. Schaefer, quite slight, short blonde hair. Ball played inside by Fiola. Little turn here from Shuloy, holds the ball up, plays it back out towards Schaefer. He wanted the ball played back down that left-hand side. Opens up for a shot here from Adam Soloy from distance, right-footed, but Patricio had it well covered. I mean, that must have been close to 35 yards out from goal.
Yeah, he hits it really well though. In fact, Soloy is 35 yards out, level with Patricio's near post. There's all sorts of movement on the ball. It's a clean strike, but Patricio gathers easily. Ball straight at him. Why not have a shot? Ian created very few chances. Didn't have any runners ahead of him.
Ball out now with Ruben Diaz. Comes forward. And then it's chipped out by Diaz to Guerrero, just coming in off the touchline. Back with Danilo, still being patient at the minute. Portugal, they won't be feeling the pressure just as yet, will they?
Not yet. They'll keep popping the ball about. They need to be, talk about patience, they need to be precise in the final third. So much of the ball. Mention the importance of shifting the ball quickly. See Pepe there, 4 or 5 touches. That allows Hungary in their defensive shape to get set.
Guerrero stretching on the far side, unable to keep the ball in play. There was a hand of an apology from Carvalho. Still 0-0. It remains between Hungary and Portugal. We will have commentary of the other game in Group F from 8 o'clock. France against Germany. John Murray and Dion Dublin, your commentary team for that one. And also we'll be hearing from Luke Shaw from the England camp after this game. England, of course, against Scotland on Friday, but the next home nation to be in action, Wales, tomorrow. We'll be live in Baku for that 5 o'clock kickoff against Turkey. Rob Phillips and Nathan Blake, the commentary team. And also a reminder that every time that there is a game on BBC television, you can watch and listen via the BBC iPlayer. That follows Finland against Russia, which is the early game. We're back to 3 games taking place tomorrow in these Euros. So 7 minutes into the second half, and it is still Hungary 0, Portugal 0. BBC Radio 5 Live. I should say as well that on the day that the home nations are playing, breakfast will be out and about 6 till 9 tomorrow. Rachel, she's live in Wrexham tomorrow. Mark Hughes, one of the guests, as is Stefan Rodri, Dave's coaches from Gavin and Stacey. And at the minute, this is a tiny performance from Hungary. As Nudge goes all the way back.
Let's get it right.
You're clearly not a fan of Gavin and Stacey, are you? I mean, that one went over your head.
Yeah,
that was like Dave's coaches going off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, I've not seen Gavin and Stacey actually.
I know.
One of the only people in the country that's the case with, but I've got more important things to do, Ian.
I know. 0-0.
That's good.
Guerrero.
You got there third time.
I did. Had to keep going. It's like Portugal. They have to keep going to try and break down this red wall of Hungary. They're playing from left to right. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Danilo.
From Australia to Wales in 3 I knows there.
Danilo's ball high into the penalty area. Had to be watchful there. Attila Viola to head the ball away. Brings it clear. Bruno Fernandes is there. Couldn't get a little flick. Viola puts it out of play for a throw.
I mean, look, Hungary aren't a good team, are they? They are not a good football team. This is all about spirit and effort and guts.
Energy and endeavour.
Yeah, and the crowd lifting them. An empty stadium, would they still be playing with this intensity, this vigour?
Ball hit long. Up towards Soloy. He goes down holding his head. I'm not too sure if there was much connection there.
But he was caught.
Well, Kunate Shakir has just told him to get up. Now, of course, because he's writhing around in agony, he's got to stop play. Because if there is a stoppage, a knock to the head, you can't afford to take that risk.
Well, yeah, and Diaz has been booked, but I think this is accidental. You can see Soloy surrounding, going up to the referee. He catches him with his left hand in the face. The ball has gone over Diaz's head. You can't be booked for that. That's accidental, Ian. Soloy does get caught, but he goes down. I mean, really, does he have to go down in that manner? bit shambolic from Sholoi there, I think. You know, he's up now. Should be able to handle that. A hand in the face here, an accidental one.
Plays back underway.
Am I being a bit harsh there?
No. Will it feature in the simulation game?
I think he was caught, but come on, don't stay down, Sholoi.
Jota left-hand side. Jota's cross. Ronaldo trying to get away from Schaefer, marking tight.
Oh, wow, there's one. Ronnie, come on, you are better than that, Ron.
A little bit of a tumble from Ronaldo.
Wow.
Adam Soloy battling for the ball, the long head captain. He's barged into the back from Semedo. That'll be a free kick.
Bit of feeling in this game, but that was absolutely pathetic. Ronaldo, come on! What are you playing at, Ron? Dear me. He is better than that.
Adam Soloy, with his long dark hair, walking back into position and whipping up the crowd. Not that they need whipping up. Real fervour inside the Puskás Arena. 0-0. And as every minute ticks by, what was it Marco Rossi said, their coach? Dreaming is free, so we dream. Downward header by Lovrencic. Then he runs into trouble, but he's helped out by Botka. Breaks forward. Kleinheisler.
Here we go.
Inside. Sholoi. Schaefer. Edge of the area. Breaks to Sholoi. Drives the ball left-footed straight at Patricio. That had them on the edge of their seats in the Puskás Arena.
Oh, and it was half a chance, wasn't it? Left-hand side of the box, but here come Portugal.
Here is Ronaldo. Headed away by Orban. Being carried forward on a crest of a wave. Hungary urged on. 0-0. Sholoi. Adam Sholoi. Right-hand side, taken off his toes by Guerrero. It was a hurried pass towards Patricio. Slid down on one knee, forced to make the clearance. This was more than just a football game for anybody connected with Hungary. About national pride. Such a huge game for the nation. Their biggest crowd for a competitive match in over 35 years. The supporters are playing their part, and the Hungarian national team are certainly rising to the challenge as well. 0-0 for what could be such a precious point. Adam Sholoi having words with Ruben Diaz.
Tell you what, they're trying to get in the referee's head. Diaz on a yellow card. Adam Sholoi in and around the referee, saying that Diaz has thrown an elbow once again. What an atmosphere. Really intense now, isn't it? It's been intense all game.
Well, they've been together since the 17th of May. They've seen how the expectations have grown in Hungary. They were talking yesterday about how they cannot just wait to play as Soloy tries to clip over the cross, blocked by Danilo, cleared by Portugal. Hit back, edge of the area, Narge. He might just have caught Carvalho there. Carvalho is just trying to shrug it off as Hungary sweep the ball out towards Sholoi. Roland Sholoi with a little bit of space to run into now. Semedo back pedals, in comes the cross, takes a deflection and is picked up by Patricio.
Hit his own player. Sholoi is pumped up down the left-hand side, chops back in on his right foot, fires the cross in. But Viola had made the underlap and the ball hit him and inadvertently goes through to Rui Patricio. It's opened up a little bit last couple of minutes.
Rossi, when he was talked about, are your players up for it? He says, my squad don't have motivational problems. If they're not up for it, they shouldn't be here. They're up for it, all right. Everybody is up for it.
How could you not be, though, in this stadium, this arena, big championship?
Semedo forward, right-hand side, teasing ball, nobody there to meet it. Oh, it was spilt by Gulacsi. It was just running away from him. And then he gathered the ball in, the Hungarian goalkeeper in yellow. 0-0, an hour played, 5 live.
Yeah, just made a bit of a mess of that. An easy cross to gather, really. The ball whipped in with no great pace. A wayward cross from Semedo. Gulacsi just letting that one slip out of his hand, but gathered.
They do have a habit of making life difficult for themselves, Portugal. You think to actually the qualifying campaign, after losing and drawing with Ukraine, only Group B runners-up with a 2-0 win over Luxembourg on the final match to finish just 3 points ahead of Serbia. And now still being held, still looking to try and get the breakthrough goal as Ronaldo picks it up. The return ball to him. Ronaldo back to Jota, holds off Narge, but Narge, the Bristol City midfielder, great tenacity, energy as well to come forward. Brilliant. He dived into the challenge. He was lucky he didn't catch Danilo there. A little bit of over-exuberance. The ball played forward by Semedo, repelled by the head of Orban. Still 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live.
It was a good run, wasn't it, from Narge, driving out of defence, and then he launched himself as the ball got away from him. Just wondered whether the referee would go back and book him. That was reckless. They're all fired up, Ian.
Still 0-0. Guerrero chipping it forward. Orban read it though, heads it away before Bruno Fernandes can get there. Now it's with Danilo. Little flick there by Bernardo Silva. When does Fernando Santos, the very experienced, the longest serving coach for Portugal, when does he try to make a change?
Absolutely.
Here is Bernardo Silva inside.
Got some talent on the bench, hasn't he? Who can come on and make that difference. João Felix.
We actually saw him. We were together when he made his debut, weren't we, in the Nations League for that game against Switzerland in Porto.
Yeah, he has that guile. He does have an eye for a goal. Hasn't been prolific at Atletico Madrid this season, but he could be the difference maker.
Ruben Dias, left-hand side, sends over a diagonal cross, comes off the head of Fiola and caught by Gulacci. Looking towards Bruno Fernandes inside that penalty area.
Yes, not the ball for Bruno Fernandes, that though. Long diagonal ball, expecting Bruno Fernandes to leap and beat Fiola in the air.
Here is Sholoi. Adam Soloy is up with him. Sholoi will go it alone. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Still has it. Looks for some support. Schaefer provides it, enters the penalty area, but then met by Carvalho.
Do you know what? He's got to be braver there, Sholoi. Left-hand side of the box, isolated Semedo. He should drive at him, try and make something happen. What's the worst that can happen? You get tackled, turns out to play, runs back towards his own goal, releases Schaefer, who actually then tries to cross the ball in, goes out for a goal kick to Portugal. Hungary just have to be braver in those moments.
27 minutes remain, still 0-0. Imagine if Hungary had Szoboszlai, who's one of their star players. If he hadn't been missing through injury, they would have had a real spark, which might have just added to the potential problems for Portugal, who still cannot find a way through as time ticks by. And Pepe switches play with a ball out towards Guerrero. Guerrero now will come forward. He's got Ronaldo waiting on the touchline. Ronaldo calls somebody towards him, dances around the ball as that right leg just hovers over the match ball. Little flick back, and now towards Pepe. And Hungary have retreated once more and have everybody back behind the ball. Bernardo Silva picks up just outside the centre circle, now towards Jota, coming onto the ball deep. Bruno Fernandes wanted it, slipped into the channel, forced out wide to Semedo.
Poor from Jota that, and he was on the drift as Bernardo Silva is drifting everywhere.
Carvalho, Bruno Fernandes, sharp turn. Orban though met it and then cleared away by Lovrencic. The red shirts were being pushed back. They were defending on the edge of their penalty area, but they stayed tight, they stayed compact. Very well organised defence. Bernardo Silva, Semedo goes on the outside of Fiola. Semedo stands over the cross, too deep. Lovrencic didn't know who was behind him and has to concede the corner kick. Corner to Portugal, 0-0.
Yeah, determined play from Semedo down the Portuguese right-hand side. Stands across up. Ronaldo had already made the run. And Lovrencic Oh, look, he wasn't sure, so he puts the ball out behind for a corner. He did have time. He'll say he didn't get a shout, but opportunity now for Portugal.
Corner kick that Bruno Fernandes is going to take, as there is going to be a change here for Hungary, and Andras Schäfer comes off and Loic Nego comes on to replace him. Only made his debut last October, so that's a Hungarian change. Schäfer, who's done very, very well. Corner kick then, Bruno Fernandes to take it for Portugal, headed away by Orban. He's been a rock at the heart of that Hungarian defence. Szolai flicks it forward, wouldn't just stay in there for nudge, and it goes out of play for a throw.
I think a like-for-like swap, fresh legs in the Hungarian midfield. Loic Nego
headed away and headed behind for a corner by a tumbling Botka. It'll be interesting, by the way, when Nego comes on to play France later on in the group. He was born in Paris. He actually won the under-19 Euros with France in 2010. But it's his 12th appearance for Portugal. Fresh legs for the tiring Schäfer.
He scored one of the most important goals in Hungarian football history, Ian.
He did. The equaliser against Iceland in the playoff final. Ball pumped long. Ruben Dias tries to head it. He was met there by Attila Szolai behind. It goes for a goal kick.
Did really well, Szolai, didn't he? I think it should have been a corner. Diagonal ball again. Dias had peeled away at the far post. And Szolai, all 6'4" of him, good leap. Headed it against Dias, but it came back off Szolai. But the referee awarded a goal kick. They are hanging on in there.
He looks pensive, does Fernando Santos.
You know, he's got options on the bench. He can make a change. He needs to make a change, you would think.
What's his mantra? Win at all costs? Well, at the minute, they're not winning. They're being held. They're being frustrated by this Hungarian side that are proving to be very, very stubborn. Portugal, though, with Jota inside. Bruno Fernandes to shoot from distance. Galacci, I think, got something on it. Making the save away towards his left. It was a low, dipping effort that Galacci was equal to it. Just opened up for the Manchester United player. Movement in the air, and Galacci turns it behind.
Yeah, he doesn't need a second invitation, does he? Bruno Fernandes, 25 yards out. All sorts of dip and swerve on the ball. Good save from Galacci at full stretch.
You said at the very start, Chris, he'd have to have a good game, and he's made a number of fine saves for Hungary. Corner is taken short. Bruno Fernandes whips it in, met by Adam Szolai at the near post. Flick header away by Kleinheisler. Semedo outside the centre circle. We're midway through the second half, and the defending champions Portugal, who've won all of their 3 previous encounters in Budapest in 1998, 2009 and 2017, are still at the minute being thwarted by this Hungary side, as Carvalho in the centre circle to Semedo. Over the halfway line he comes. Stretching was Bernardo Silva, and taking full advantage was Viola to bring the ball forward, and out it goes for a throw. And that pressure, they'll now be starting to feel the pressure. It's going to crank up on Portugal. They had the opportunity to start Group F. We all know how difficult the group is, with France and Germany still to play later on tonight in Munich. Commentary, of course, on 5 Live. But just as they were in 2016, they might have to settle for a share of the spoils as Szolai gets on the end of that cross from the right-hand side. Roland Szolai, but never enough purchase on it to trouble Patricio, and it trickles wide. 0-0.
Hasn't stopped running, Roland Szolai. The ball whipped in from the right-hand side. Bouncing ball, not an easy chance. 16 yards out, just behind him. He's level with the penalty spot. Doesn't get the good connection, snatches at it a little bit, goes past the post.
Bruno Fernandes, sharp turn and shoots. And it was a snapshot really from the right-hand side of the penalty area. He hit it left-footed, but it was well off target. Goal kick, 20 minutes remain.
Yeah, just seeing that effort of his a couple of moments ago. It's a great save from Galacci, who leaps to his left-hand side, full stretch, fingertips around the post. Bruno Fernandes cannot believe it.
A cauldron of noise in the Puskás Arena. The different areas of the stadium chanting as Bernardo Silva comes off, and the player who is coming on is Rafa Silva. So that's the first change that has been made by Fernando Santos, the Benfica winger. He only played 2 minutes at Euro 2016. That was against Austria. He's yet to score for his country. What a time it would be to try and change that for Portugal, for the 28-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Good time to start. Here and now they need a goal, don't they, Portugal? It's interesting, wasn't it, coming into this game, and how dismissive everybody was of Hungary.
Ball up towards Roland Šoloj, one bounce and into the arms of Rui Patricio.
It just shows you what a bit of organisation and spirit, get a crowd behind you, full stadium behind you, what it can do.
The only venue with the 100% capacity, and it has certainly helped one of the host nations, Hungary, with 18 minutes remaining of normal time. They weren't given much of a hope, as it's with Semedo, now with Rafa Silva, diminutive winger for Benfica, and he's just given away a free kick, the substitute.
Clever, wasn't it, from Šoloj? Up top, the captain, the leader, just buying himself a free kick, getting his body in. Rafa Silva making the contact. More breathing space for Hungary.
They have put so much into the game. They've just got to make sure that their concentration levels remain high, as Attila Šoloj comes out of defence. And now maybe with Nego, there's an attack here for Hungary. Lovrencic sends over the cross, and it was actually Attila Šoloj who'd continued his run with a surging effort into the penalty area, just lacked the direction on his header. But Hungary is still coming forward. Kleinheisler, left-hand side of the penalty area, goes on the outside. Can he deliver the ball? Oh. He did. It was low in towards the near post.
He was on his heels.
And Attila Šoloj wasn't expecting it.
He wasn't. He should have been expecting it. Who knows what would have happened had he been expecting it. But they've looked out on the feet at times, Hungary. And then all of a sudden they have these little spells, don't they, where like a boxer on the ropes, they come out swinging and land a couple of blows on Portugal. Can they land a fatal one?
If that had been Ardam instead of Attila Šoloj, with that just sense around the goal, that he would have been, that anticipation would have been there, the instincts of a striker. But instead the central defender just didn't have that nous, if you like, that instinct of a predator. 0-0. And there is 16 minutes remaining. What a story this would be at Euro 2020. As Naj to come forward, still sprightly. Šoloj, he was fit and firing, said the manager yesterday. And now he's forward, and then Pepe clips him. Free kick. No yellow card, I don't think, but it's a free kick.
Yeah, I spoke about the importance of being positive there. Roland Šoloj earlier in the half had the opportunity to drive at Semedo. It's amazing what a bit of positivity can do. Turns, drives it. Pepe holds onto the ball, wins the free kick. And you just feel this stadium, they're starting to believe.
They are starting to believe.
They can't, can they?
Well, stranger things have happened. 15 minutes remain. Nego makes the run. Ruben Dias has to clear. comes out to Soloy, who goes for goal, but a long way out. It was a dipping effort, right-footed. It was always drifting away from goal.
Oh, the big captain takes it on his chest. I mean, he's miles out. Little chance of scoring. He's gone for the miracle goal. Ends up as pretty average. It was well past the left-hand post of Rui Patricio.
Mind you, when you say they believe, they'd still be happy to pick up the point. They wouldn't be greedy. They'd take the point against Portugal. Oh, yes, they would, with 15 minutes remaining. We've still got France, Germany to come later on, but this would be a story if Hungary, who were declared as the whipping boys in Group F, were to take a point off the defending champions. Bruno Fernandes chips the ball forward. They're appealing for a handball. Ronaldo's appealing for a handball. They're all appealing for a handball. Kunait Shakir just points to his earpiece. VAR will be having a look at this. The ball was played forward. It bounces off the chest. I would have to say that would be harsh if it was given against Fiola, because he's running across. His arms don't appear to be in an unnatural position, and play is already continuing. I've got to say, the UEFA and the way that they've handled VAR in this tournament so far.
Let's not go too early. Is there a check going on? You see Nego
potential penalty check. There is a potential penalty check.
His arm wasn't down by his side. That's what I would say. But it's a natural movement. It's a running movement, isn't it, from Hungarian defender? I think it would be so harsh. The distance the ball travels.
And also the new rules that we saw in the opening game, didn't we, that not every offence has to be penalised. UEFA have rode back a little bit in that sense. But they are checking for a potential penalty, a potential handball. Kunait Shakir, though, is now saying that the substitutions can happen and the check is over.
Good.
And nothing will happen.
I think that's the right decision. Ronaldo screaming for the penalty. Sprinted towards the referee, remonstrating. But that would have been harsh, Ian, wouldn't it?
It would.
I don't think the defender made himself bigger or tried to impede Ronaldo. Ronaldo's a clever run, wasn't it, on the shoulder?
I like the way that UEFA and the referees have handled it so far, with that the way that they've set the bar for VAR so far. Two changes then to be made. David Shiger has come on for Laszlo Kleinheisler, and the other change is Sobolt Schön as the ball in towards the penalty area, punched away by the goalkeeper, headed back by Nego. Sobolt Schön has come on for the tireless Roland Schuloy. So some fresh legs to try and keep this impetus going for Hungary, to try and keep the defending champions at bay. Jota cannot release Ronaldo on the left-hand side. Up towards Adam Soloy, the captain, who's been terrific the way that he's led the line. 12 minutes remain, Chris Sutton.
Oh, yeah, he's their main man, isn't he? The talisman, the one the team look up to. Can he produce a moment of magic? Half a chance, take it. I mean, this is heroic from Hungary, isn't it? But can they get the winning goal? I suppose, can they hold out?
The supporters who gathered in Hero Square ahead of the game in the centre of Budapest will be ready to acclaim their heroes here today. The players in red who've absolutely stretched and battled and fought for everything. High ball over the top. Bruno Fernandes tries to bring it under control. Put out of play, though, on that far side by Botka. Just over 10 minutes remaining of normal time. In the Ireland game, in the warm-up game that was 0-0, it was the first time that they'd failed to score in 15 home games under Marco Rossi. They won't necessarily be caring about that. They'll just want to make sure that they can keep Portugal out for the next 10 minutes or so. That will feel like a victory as Lovrencic clears downfield. Played back by Schön. Nego now is forward. Will he keep the ball in play? Yes, he will. Schön's got it ahead of him. Schön, right-hand side of the penalty area. He's looking for some support. Would you believe it? Schön will go in alone. And Schön squeezes the ball in. Oh, but the flag is raised. The flag has been raised. It'll go to VAR. Some of the supporters inside the stadium, due to the delirium, haven't even realised that the flag was raised. And now it's sinking in. But it will go to VAR.
He's
What
offside.
drama, but he is offside.
He is offside. There's a yard offside. I thought that it's easy to say this, but the assistant should have raised his flag immediately. Sean chops in from the right-hand side on his favoured left foot. It's hopeless goalkeeping from Patricio, but he gets away with it. Portugal get fortunate.
Oh, we almost had a real story on our hands there. You can tell what the Hungarian supporters think about the decision, but he was offside. You cannot deny that. As Portugal are going to make a couple of changes. We're going to have Renato Sanchez coming on. He is one of many title winners, domestic title winners in this Portuguese squad, of course playing for Lille. He's come on for Carvalho, left it late, mind you, Portugal, with his changes, 9 minutes remaining of normal time. And then the other change was Andre Silva has come onto the field of play as well, and he has replaced Diego Jota. 0-0, and Hungary thought that they'd got themselves a late dramatic winner. It's only pumped up the crowd even more. It's a fever pitch in the Puskás Arena.
Up. Here they come again, Hungary. They've looked a bigger threat, haven't they, the longer the game has gone on, breaking out. Andre Silva's gone as a central striker and Ronaldo out to the left-hand side for Portugal. He can nick a goal, though, Andre Silva, prolific last season for Eintracht Frankfurt.
Semedo with a cross, blocked by Fiola. They have given it absolutely everything, haven't they, Hungary? From the throw, Semedo. Portugal with Danilo. Sanchez. Outside is Guerreiro, lets it run through. Ronaldo and Guerreiro try and combine. Lovrencic was there to clear the ball away, strikes Guerreiro, and Gulacsi is happy for seeing that bouncing ball go behind. 8 minutes remain. This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Everyone keeps talking about, oh, it's the big game later. It's the big game later in Munich. France against Germany.
Disrespectful, Ian.
This has been such an enjoyable watch.
Yeah. That might be the big game. We've got the big crowd.
Could have a big story yet too. 0-0. Up towards Adam Soloy, backing into Diaz. Danilo runs off his chest. He has to go back, and then he was felled by Soloy.
Yeah. He's like an action man, isn't he? Soloy is here, he's there. He's everywhere.
Marco Rossi, the bald Italian coach for Hungary. What a backstory he's had. Coached with about 5 different sides in the Italian lower leagues, and here he is on one of the biggest stages of all.
There's Soloy again, pinching
Soloy
the ball.
Forward to Nego. Now he looks towards Schön.
Oh.
Schön has pace, he's sprightly, up against the evergreen Pepe. And then the goalkeeper, decked out in green, passes the ball forward, and Portugal will build from the back, but another minute has ticked by. And we're under 7 minutes remaining, and it's 0-0 on 5 Live. Sanchez, now there's a lot more urgency. Ronaldo, he ushers Sanchez to come alongside him. Ronaldo passes the ball towards Semedo. The crowd in Budapest respond by trying to keep them going. There are about 4,000 or 5,000 Portuguese supporters in the Puskás Arena. You can see the Portuguese flags waving, but you can't hear them.
Yeah, exactly.
Here is Rafa Silva. Shot takes a deflection into the penalty area. Oh, that's cruel. That is absolutely cruel. Guerreiro with a deflected effort past a flat-footed Gulacsi. And with 6 minutes remaining, the defending champions are up and running. But what a cruel blow to the brave Hungary side. But it is Portugal who lead by a goal to 0.
Oh, they absolutely didn't deserve this, Hungary. It's a ball worked down to the right-hand side of the box. It's actually a deflected cross from Silva, and Guerrero hits a shot. He doesn't hit it flush, it's going straight at the goalkeeper, and it comes off Orban, and it's agonising for Hungary. Deflected effort off the inside of Orban's left boot, and it creeps into the far corner. Portugal look like they got out of jail here. Heartbreak for Hungary. So unlucky there. It wasn't a good connection from Guerrero.
In many ways, that double deflection, the first from Attila Soloy into the path of Guerrero, and then the other, the wicked, the cruel, the significant deflection of Orban to take it past Gulacsi. And with 5 minutes remaining, Portugal lead by a goal to nil, and Rafael Guerrero with his first competitive goal for Portugal, and his first in 5 years, has given them a slender lead. They might be in again here now. And it was Rafa Silva who goes down under the challenge from Orban, and a penalty has been conceded, and Orban is shown a yellow card. It was a genuine attempt to play the ball. That's the reason why it's not a red card for Orban. It was an attempt to play the ball, but he has fouled Rafa Silva, and now it is just starting to crumble in the Puskás Arena.
Yes, all falling apart. See, Rafa Silva and Orban, there is contact. I think it's Orban's. You see the challenge. Silva gets his body in. Is there enough contact to go down in that manner? I think it's a left knee into the backside.
Cristiano
Rafa Silva, yep.
Cristiano Ronaldo. The penalty stands after the VAR check.
I think they got that right.
Currently on 9 goals with Michel Platini. Cüneyt Çakır is saying to Peter Gulacsi, you've got to wait on your goal line, I'll be checking for you. Cristiano Ronaldo, so many records that he has broken in his career. He could still break the biggest one of all by becoming the highest goal scorer in international football. Cristiano Ronaldo runs up now and does score, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the record goal scorer at the European Championship finals, and he secures the 3 points. It's Hungary 0, Portugal 2.
Well, he missed a big opportunity just before half-time from 6 yards. When you expected him to bury it, wasn't going to miss, or he doesn't keep missing big chances from the penalty spot. Sends Gulacsi the wrong way, goes to the keeper's left, Gulacsi goes right, it's game over, and Ronaldo runs off with a snarl. Just seeing the penalty award again, there is a knee in the backside of Rafa Silva, and Ronaldo doesn't waste this opportunity, and Portugal, well, good start, you have to say, to their campaign.
But boy, have they had to fight for it.
Absolutely.
But as Ronaldo with that celebrating leap into the air, and then the posture, such an important goal for Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal, ole is the chant now from the 5,000 supporters. For the first time you can actually hear them. And that tells you everything about the support that has been for Hungary. That one of the co-hosts, as Bruno Fernandes is going to come off and João Moutinho is going to come on.
You've got a feel for Hungary. 2 goals in quick succession. A city, one of its famous sons, Harold Houdini, not even he could get out of this. They're not going to come back now. It's not going to be one of the great escapes.
The official attendance, by the way, is 55,662, which UEFA were yesterday saying that it was going to be 61,000. I think it actually holds 68, but for whatever reason there was 61,000 tickets on sale. Mind you, still to 100% capacity. They found their voices again in the Puskás Arena for what has been a real spirited effort from the Hungarian players, but 2 late goals for Portugal mean that they will be off to a winning start for the first time at a major tournament since 2008.
Win at all costs.
Win at all costs indeed. Kevin Varga has come on for Fiola, but it will make little difference now as far as Hungary are concerned. They will just have to rest and recover from the effort that they put in, because they'll take on France in Budapest on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, where Portugal take on Germany a little later on that day in Munich. And as we said at the very start, they couldn't afford a slow start in such a tricky group. 5 minutes of added on time, which there will be.
And 2-0, it flatters Portugal, doesn't it? It's going to be so hard, this, for Hungary to take. Can they pick themselves up and go again?
Well, we are now into those 5 minutes, but it's silent inside the Puskás Arena, and that tells you everything about how they've punctured what could have been a real party in the Puskás Arena. Portugal lead by 2-0. Ronaldo, he'll be thankful to get on the goal scoring sheet after that effort that he missed in the first half. 10 goals now. He's the outright leading goal scorer at his 5th European Championship finals. And of course, as well, it takes him another goal towards Ali Daei of Iran, who is the only man in world football to have outscored him. Ronaldo 105, Ali Daei 109. Here is Ronaldo trying to play the ball back to Rafa Silva. Moutinho to Renato Sanchez. But as you say, it's a scoreline that doesn't tell the full story, and how short-lived their celebrations were when Schürrle had that disallowed goal in the 80th minute, as Ronaldo combining with Rafa Silva, back towards Rafa Silva. This is brilliant. Ronaldo again at the double. That really was superb. They prized open the Hungarian defence. Ronaldo and Rafa Silva, and Ronaldo at the double, and Portugal with an absolutely superb goal with the 3 points as they lead 3-0. But that was just sublime.
Just wow. Ronaldo walks on water, doesn't he? That was so good. Nodding his head to the fans in the stadium. Oh, it's a really tight one, whether it's offside, but a couple of really quick, intricate passes from Ronaldo inside the Hungarian box. Goes round Galakshi, the goalkeeper, and pokes the ball into an empty net. Classy finish, classy play from Ronaldo. Absolutely stunning, that movement and the finish.
In the 92nd minute, Ronaldo gets his second. I think it's fair to say that if Portugal are to continue in this competition, that world record will go now, as Ronaldo is within 3 of Ali Daei. Play is yet to restart. Now it does. The goal stands, and Ronaldo in the 92nd minute.
Couple of quick 1-2s, wasn't it? Really classy play. You know what he's capable of, Ronaldo. Such great awareness. I think the older he's got, he's adapted his game. He's not so much of a dribbler. But what a finish, the way he finished. Galakshi has had such a strong game, but he just strolled around him and popped the ball in. And this is looking emphatic now for Portugal.
3 goals in the space of 8 minutes. It flatters Portugal, certainly. And there is just silence now of the Hungarian support, because for so long they were going toe-to-toe. They were frustrating Portugal, and in what could be a tight group as well, the goal difference, the amount of goals that Portugal have scored today could be really significant.
Yeah, absolutely. That's your one good point for the evening.
Well, they scored 3 goals against Hungary in Lyon in 2016. Ronaldo with a brace of goals that particular night. prove crucial. Might well prove crucial once again, as history has repeated itself in that sense, with Ronaldo at the double. Hungary 0, Portugal 3, and we're inside the last 30-odd seconds of stoppage time. But what a contest it has been. Such an enjoyable contest, Chris Sutton.
Absolutely. Hungary, the minnows of the group, the whipping boys of the group. It seemed this scoreline is so harsh. The energy in the stadium, the energy which the team have played with, the guts, the desire. They haven't had the quality, but they were so close, and there we go.
There is the final whistle. Arms aloft to celebrate for Cristiano Ronaldo. The defending champions are up and running with a victory, but the underdogs in Group F, they couldn't provide a bite, but they certainly barked, as did the Hungarian supporters. But in the end, it is ultimate disappointment, but there is an appreciation of applause for the Hungarian side, who gave it absolutely everything. But in the end, it is Portugal with those 3 late goals in the space of 8 minutes. But even now, you cannot silence the thunderclap in the Puskás Arena. But it is Portugal who have won by 3-0. Steve Crossman.
Chris, that is cruel, isn't it?
Oh, heartbreaking. Well, just listen to the atmosphere within the stadium. The supporters have given everything. The Hungarian players gave everything, and they were minutes away from becoming heroes, and so close in the second half. That offside decision with Sean, when he got the ball past Patricio in the goal, crept in, and he was half a yard offside, and it was all what if, and then you just felt, would Portugal get the opportunity? And they were lucky with the first goal. 2 deflections, Guerreiro hit his shot. It was a tame effort. Galacci would have saved it, crept into the far corner, and then Portugal were absolutely ruthless. Ronaldo missed that big opportunity just before half-time, but you cannot keep that man down. Tucked his penalty away, and then the final goal was genius from Ronaldo. A couple of really quick passing movements, and then he ghosted round Galacci. And you know, it looks comfortable, 3-0 for Portugal, but that has not been the story of this match. They're getting a rousing reception, the Hungarian players, and they deserve it. And the question for them is, can they pick themselves up in this competition and go again? They're in an incredibly tough group, but they have done themselves and their country proud.
Well, when you look at those pictures, you know, France have got to come to Budapest as well. They're not going to enjoy that. This is what they're going to be up against.
No, absolutely. And look, they're rough around the edges. They are raw, but they are organised, they're determined, they have their way of playing. They know they can't compete technically with nations like Portugal and France and Germany, but you know, as I say, they have their style of play, and they give it everything. They lay it out there. This is a big championship, the European Championship, and they turned up and gave it their all. Just not good enough, but so unlucky. You have to say that.
They're having a lovely moment with their fans, the Hungary players, Ian.
Yeah, they just stood in front of the end where the ultras are housed, 3-tiered end. A lot of the lower tier is just mainly those who are wearing black T-shirts, but they're just singing and standing. The red, green and white scarves are being held aloft. It's a real show of patriotism from here in the Puskás Arena, and in fact everybody's standing with their hands on the badge, the Hungarian badge, across their chests. So as Chris will tell you, I'm not really big on national anthems, but I've got a feeling
I was thinking that
was a rendition of the anthem, which was being sung by both the players and the supporters at the left-hand end of the stadium.
Do you want to hummus that rendition?
No, I think I've been jettisoned from that quiz, have I not? So no, I don't think I'll play ball with that, if you don't mind. I've had my points deducted.
Yeah.
I've withdrawn myself from the competition.
Well, Hungary certainly won't be doing that just yet, despite the defeat, because... And the other thing, Chris, is just looking at that and that atmosphere, that's major tournament football. And just, it's wonderful, isn't it, to look at?
Yep, football is nothing without fans, and you know, this tournament was a long time coming, but I've really enjoyed the tournament so far. And look, Ian said in commentary, quite right, you know, people talking about, well, you know, the big game of the day is France and Germany, but this atmosphere, we've had the biggest crowd, the biggest experience. This has been a pleasure to be a part of it. It really has been. And the Hungarian team played their part. They stayed in the game for so long. They frustrated Portugal. The longer the game went, you just thought, could they get an opportunity?
Disallowed goal?
Yeah, absolutely. And Portugal get over the line, but just, you know, still the scenes within the stadium, absolutely incredible atmosphere.
They're on a lap of honour now, the Hungarian players, which is remarkable.
When has anybody done that? Yeah, 3-0. Yeah. Blimey. It's incredible.
Well, I better mention Portugal, Chris, I suppose, because they did win the game. You're saying before, you know, can't get off to a slow start when you got France and Germany to come, and they haven't.
No, and, you know, Ian mentioned, you know, the goal difference, and, you know, 3 goals, 3-0. It's looked comfortable. It was anything but comfortable, but it was the perfect start. They were worked. They're notoriously slow starters in competitions. But that is the start that they needed. You know, they've laid down a marker. They can play much better. But what we do know is, you know, when they play France and Germany, they will be more open games. There'll be different types of games where it'll be end to end. It wasn't the case with Hungary today, but they got the job done. That's all that matters. 3 goals, 3 points, on to the next game.
And another record for Cristiano Ronaldo, the most goals anyone has ever scored at a Euros finals. I mean, I don't know how motivated he is by records, but he keeps his motivation at peak levels no matter what.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you kept thinking that chance on half-time, dreadful miss. You think, how many times have we seen Ronaldo miss an opportunity like that? Hardly ever. But he keeps going, got his chance from the penalty spot, and you knew he was going to score. And then the last goal. He always has a say in games, doesn't he? He's capable of absolutely anything. He's a creator of huge moments, and it was another brilliant moment. He's a record breaker. I don't know how many goals he scored, how many trophies he's won. All, I think, you know, you just lose count of what is achieved within his career. But to stay motivated, to stay so influential at his age is so special, and it's a testament to him that he keeps himself so conditioned. The leap he had in the first half of the header, Ian, I mean, it's incredible how you can jump that high. Most people can't jump that high using a trampoline, and he does it. You know, it's a standing jump. I used to play with Henrik Larsson, who could leap like that. This guy, how old is Ronaldo now? 35, 36. I mean, blimey. He's on his way to 40.
Yeah, he's 36 years of age. By his standards, he had quite a quiet season, just the 36 goals for Juventus. But he was speaking actually ahead of the game, and he was saying that I'm not the same player I was. I just keep adjusting. Yeah. I'm more mature, but from the age of 18 to 36, I've just learnt to adjust and to adapt. And he says that he talks about how the team, not just him, is physically and mentally ready. But you can only admire him. And you're talking about records. He's now within 3 of Ali Daei to become the world's highest international goal scorer. You know, Daei is the only man in world football to have outscored him. So his record for Portugal is just frightening.
And you spoke about him adjusting and adapting. Portugal's 3rd goal, his 2nd goal.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, really quick play. He's such an intelligent footballer. You know, he used to be known for his dribbling skills. It's his sharpness of mind now, isn't it? I mean, he knows he's at an age where that's not his game anymore, dribbling past players. Of course he can in certain moments, but he used to dribble past 3 and 4. Now it's about, you know, quick interplay, popping the ball off, getting it back, and then his finish. He is such a classy finisher. I mean, you knew once he got in there it was going to be, you know, he was going to finish. But the way he sacked Galacci down and popped it into an empty net, it is effortless. He is such a brilliant footballer.
The first man to play at 5 European Championships, the most appearances with a record of 22, which just keeps being extended. Now the record outright goal scorer with 10 goals. However, he's yet to score against France and Germany.
Why do you bring a negative in? He's just broken another record, and there you are.
Because that's what he'll be trying to do. He sets himself these targets.
Yeah, I'm not
scored
talking about him, I'm
France and
talking about
Germany.
you.
It's not a negative.
You know, let's finish the day on a high. You know, we've had a good afternoon, good evening, and let's give Ronaldo praise. Let's not look at the negative side.
Well, I haven't had a good afternoon. I've spent it with you.
Hey, listen, Chris, are you finishing on a positive, though? Because you are top of the BBC Sport Predictions League, and I'm second. So...
Oh, well, what's interesting there is you wouldn't have said anything had you not been second, would you?
Yeah, it's not about you, Steve.
I'm actually only mentioning it because I had this down as a 3-0 win for Portugal, Chris.
Did you? I can't remember what I put.
Okay, it doesn't matter to you, does it? Unless you win. No,
it's just nice to see. I'm used to winning things. You and Ian aren't.
Christian Fuchs is waving at me at the background, by the way, to say he had 3-0 as well. It's going to get. I'm going to say it's going to get quite competitive because I have a chance. If I was doing badly, I would never have mentioned it on air, Chris. As you know.
We realise that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis, your commentary team, for a brilliant game. You know, if you've just come in and seen, okay, Portugal beat Hungary 3-0, the story of the game is a million miles from that. Hungary was so brave. They performed brilliantly. Their fans were incredible in an absolutely packed Puskás Arena in Budapest, but in the final 10 minutes, Portugal found a way. They got a lucky first goal. Ronaldo scored twice, and that's that. So a great start in the end for the reigning champions from Euro 2016. If we can match that drama, then we're in for a great evening, and we've got the teams to do it. France versus Germany is our final game tonight on 5 Live Sport. Kicks off at 8 o'clock. We're bringing you full commentary. So coming up next, all the build-up to that. We're also going to be in the England camp. We'll hear from Luke Shaw, and we'll get more on the injury that unfortunately has forced Dean Henderson out of Euro 2020. We'll do all of that after the latest news with Nick Hatfield.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Dame Cressida Dick, has apologised to the family of a murdered private investigator after an independent report found the force's handling of the case reveals a form of institutional corruption. Daniel Morgan was killed in 1987 and no one has been convicted despite 5 police inquiries. The Met's Assistant Commissioner Nick Fgrave says more could have been done.
We clearly haven't got the balance right, and clearly we've made mistakes. No one's pretending we haven't. But the intention has always been to support this inquiry, balancing the need to protect things like informants' identities, things like the identity of undercover officers, things like covert technology, with the requirement to make sure the panel has the fullest information it can to make its judgments. And we've tried to get that balance right all the way through this process.
The easing of coronavirus restrictions in Scotland is likely to be pushed back by 3 weeks. Nicola Sturgeon says it will give more time to get as many people as possible vaccinated. The whole of Scotland was due to move to the lowest level of its 5-tier system from the 28th of June. Boris Johnson says a trade deal between the UK and Australia opens fantastic opportunities for British businesses and consumers. Some farmers fear the market could be flooded with cheaper, inferior imports. The president of the National Farmers Union is Minette Batters.
We have to start putting effectively our money where our mouth is. We have to start developing our trade infrastructure and what that looks like. At the moment, it seems very much about jams and pickles and whiskey and other things that are not agricultural commodities. At the moment, it just, I have to say, sounds like sound bites without genuine ambition.
The former BBC Director General Lord Hall says it was the wrong judgment not to sack Martin Bashir over the 1995 interview with Princess Diana. He told a committee of MPs the reporter clearly shouldn't have been trusted. Mr Bashir faked bank documents to try to secure the interview with Diana. And a French court has ordered IKEA to pay a fine of €1 million after the firm was found guilty of spying on staff. A former boss at the furniture chain was given a 2-year suspended jail term. IKEA in France was found to have used private detectives and police officers to collect information on staff.
BBC Sounds.
I'm Stacey Dooley. Join me as we get ready to shake off the last year and start afresh on my brand new podcast.
I was in the uniform for half an hour. I was so fulfilled.
I'm talking to people who have swapped beauty salons for shellfish.
Literally going from lovely smells to lobsters, crabs and bait.
And traded in the 9 to 5 to fight crime.
It seems like only yesterday that we were in a classroom practicing arrests, and now here I am arresting somebody.
I cannot wait to share these incredible stories with you. Listen to Stacey Dooley Fresh Starts only on the BBC Sounds app.
The wait is over.
Euro 2020
with Steve Crossman on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening, it's the final match of the first round of group games at Euro 2020, and we've saved the best till last. From 8 European heavyweights take to the ring in Munich, it's Germany against France.
Travels a very long way and it's gone in, and that man has done it again, Thomas Muller. And this specialist in tournament football, Thomas Muller, maybe the key man in this German side. Griezmann with the corner, and it's so! And the long wait for a French goal ends for Paul Pogba.
But what can German fans expect to see from their side?
A successful tournament would be if the national team could bring back the trust of the supporters in Germany, because there were some problems in the past. The national team lost some attention of the supporters.
And how are relations in France's team of superstars?
Mbappe shoots, and Mbappe scores! Kylian Mbappe, only the second teenager to score in a World Cup final. The last was Pele in '58, but that surely seals it now. France 4, Croatia 1.
The wait is over.
Euro 2020.
With Steve Crossman on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening and welcome back to 5 Live Sport. Tomorrow we're all about Wales. Rachel's going to be in Wrexham on breakfast. She'll have fans with her and a couple of famous faces, including Stefan Rodri, aka Dave of Dave's Coaches, on Gavin and Stacey. But that is for then, and this is for now, because we're less than an hour away from the biggest game of Euro 2020 so far. Marseille in 2016, Munich tonight. Then it was France en route to the final of Euro 2016, winning 2-0 in the last 4. Now it's Germany with home advantage for a group game, which is big enough to be the final. So we'll hear from Bastian Schweinsteiger. We'll hear from Cesc Fabregas telling us about his former Chelsea teammate N'Golo Kante. Big names wherever you look, and that is just the build-up. Our correspondent John Murray is your commentator for what will hopefully be, John, an absolute belter.
Yes, really looking forward to it. And the team news is interesting. Very similar sides to the ones that played for both France and Germany in their